Well, if it is our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93.
Oh, man. Well, here we go. Welcome. We welcome every damn last one of you to the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. It's our Wednesday program. I stayed up late last night, Cubby. I'm sure you can figure out why, and it was not worth it.
Yeah, a little disappointing.
I'm sorry.
We can get into that later. Plenty of time to cover that nightmare later. I'll just say this. I'll just say this. Josh, do you remember years ago when we were still young bucks, and you and I and an oversized teenage kid that used to work here, the three of us would drive on over to a park in my neighborhood with a 7-foot hoop, and we would play basketball until we couldn't stand any longer.
I remember that fondly, and I remember the first time we ever went there because this kid was over 6 feet tall.
Yeah, he was the teen Androthal.
Yeah,
That's what we called him, the teen Androthal, because he was
Would you say at least 6'2"?
Yeah, he's a big, massive hunk of garbage is what he was. He was just a big load of garbage.
Like you said, so he could reach the rim.
Yeah.
You know?
7-foot hoop. Normally they're 10. We would go to the 7-foot.
It was 7-foot hoop.
So we could do a little, Dr. J till we were fancy out there.
And I never have seen anyone worse at basketball. I really thought, he's our first pick.
He's terrible.
He was so bad.
Horrible lack of coordination from top to bottom.
I mean, you just keep him under the net for a layup. He couldn't do it.
He couldn't make a layup. Teen Androthal. The three of us would drive all the way over to my neighborhood to this beautiful park with a 7-foot hoop and just have a riot back when we were young. And I don't want to derail the beginning of our program with all this sports talk. I just want to say this. We, on those days, the three of us looked more like professional basketball players than the Wolves did at times last night.
What now I'm already forgetting the stat. Anthony Edwards had 1 point in how long? Was it a quarter? Was it
First half.
It was the whole first half?
Yep.
Oh, man.
That's not a winning recipe right there.
Is it our fault? Did we not tell him when the game started? Did he think it was pregame warm-up?
I don't think that there's any blame to be spread this way. No, I don't think. I know you, as a Catholic, you want to blame yourself. Well,
I want to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. That maybe there's something we could have done better.
No.
Now I'm going to put this one on him.
And then Curry's injured.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, one of their best players is injured, and the Wolves still
that was fun.
Done.
That part was fun. But we can get into all that jibber jabber a little bit later. But not a good start for the fellas. Josh, how's my godson doing? Christ, he's about grown at this point, isn't he?
13. He's doing pretty good.
You were showing me pictures of him in Boston, and my gosh, he looks so old.
Yeah, he's been he's big at this point. He's a little big for his age, and it's funny. So
the new teen Androthal?
Yeah, not quite that tall.
Version 2?
My wife's delusional, by the way. He's very curious how tall he'll be. So my oldest son, he has a different dad. I'm his stepdad, and he's about 6 feet. He hovers between 6'1", somewhere in that neck of the woods. And so your godson thinks that he's going to. Well, my wife has perpetuated this. Oh, he'll be 6'2".
Yeah.
Like that. And I told him, no, you might be done. I mean, this might be it for you.
Yeah.
Look at your parents. My wife's 5'6". I used to be over 5'9", but now I'm 5'8". I'm shrinking.
Your son, more importantly, again, my godson, is he taller than you yet?
No, he's taller than everyone but his older brother and me, though, in the family.
So he's
sorry, my mother-in-law. He's not taller than my mother-in-law. She's pretty
All
tall.
right, so he's not really sneaking up anywhere towards 6 feet yet.
No, he's about 5'7",
but
maybe.
his mother is convinced he'll be 6'2" for some reason.
Yeah, she's got mom goggles with pretty much everything.
Yeah.
You said his mother-in-law is pretty tall, or your mother-in-law is pretty tall, though?
Yeah, she is.
I guess there's a chance.
Well, and
I've seen weirder situations, like two rather short parents and, a kid that's over 6 foot.
when my dad was about 6 feet, and he was the smallest of all of his brothers. He's one of 8. There's one aunt in there, but
all right.
Outside of that, so I mean, that's possible. My wife comes from a taller family, but I still think But then again, my mom is 5 feet tall,
right,
and probably at this point about 4'10".
What do the doctors say?
Doctors?
Can't they usually predict how tall you're going to be?
I don't know. We've never asked.
I have no idea. I suppose you could go in. I can't imagine my parents ever complying with that. I want to go to the doctor and find out how tall I'm going to be.
Well, you're usually there for something else.
No, you're not going in for that. So there's that drama in the house. How tall am I going to be? Okay.
Yeah, but he's doing pretty good. I mean, yesterday he missed the bus on the way home, which is the first time he did that. So maybe it's the start of a decline.
Oh, that's the worst when it's on the way home.
He missed the bus on the way.
Oh, hopefully he was, out flirting with some girl somewhere and lost track of time.
No, it's because some kid broke his iPad, so he had to stay after and get a new iPad.
Oh, that sucks. Would have been a lot cooler the other way.
You've mentioned before that you keep an eye on his internet practices.
I do, yes.
You ever notice he's been looking up something online that has to do with you? Like maybe he searched, why did my dad's hair fall out? Or why does my dad wear a bright blue hoodie with bright blue shorts? Or why do my parents make those noises in the bedroom? You ever notice that he's looked up something about you or your wife?
No, never. He has no interest in either one of us. And by the way, let me just say, if I can interject, the bright blue hoodie, bright blue shorts, I know it's stupid. But here's it just kind of happened. I'm wearing a bright blue hoodie and bright blue shorts. It just happened. But I put it on a couple days ago, so I'm stuck with it. Because, if you guys know how it goes, I'll put it on a Sunday, and I'm going to wear it the entire week.
You can't go somewhere
so there's
after
nothing
the show,
I can
man.
do about it.
That is true, that when you put on an outfit, you stick with that outfit until the bitter end. A good week and a half sometimes with the same outfit.
I can commit.
I was busting Cubby's balls earlier. I don't know. I came in and I sat down and we just were mindlessly blabbering at each other back and forth like you do at 4:30 in the morning. None of it really makes any sense. But Josh said something along the lines of, "Do you have any criticisms of me? Anything at all?
Yeah, can I improve in any way?
Yeah, can I improve in any way?
Are you disappointed in me?
Yeah,
am
are you
am I
often,
living up to my...
You have a lot of these doubts, and at times you check with me, on...
You're my compass.
On how you're doing overall. And I said, I don't really have any criticisms at all. Of course I don't. And then it dawned on me, yesterday, when you got up from your chair with your bright blue hoodie with bright blue basketball shorts, I said to myself, I got to talk to him about that. That's terrible. It looks terrible. It reminds me of when my dad retired. He settled into a regular outfit, and it was red sweatpants with the elastic waist, of course, with the matching red sweatshirt up top.
Who did he think he
matching
was? Was he a part of a gang?
Matching part of a gang?
Yeah.
I told that I said, unless I'm jumped into a gang, I shouldn't be wearing this outfit. I told that to Nick yesterday.
Yeah. So my dad would wear the matching red sweatsuit. Just the cheapest, not the cool stuff with stripes on the legs or anything, just the cheapest sweatpants, sweatshirt combo. Red on the bottom, red on the top. And the first time I saw my dad, not that this conversation had any effect on him at all, there was no man on planet Earth ever more comfortable in his own skin than my dad. He never gave two pumps what anyone thought of his appearance, his outfit. But I had to tell him, when he would walk around the house with the matching red sweatsuit, I had to say, you look like Santa Claus's slow brother. you have to mix it up. You have to have maybe a different color on top or a different color on the bottoms. You can't match that perfectly top and bottom. So when I saw Josh's bright blue sweat ensemble yesterday, I said to myself, I have to talk to him about this. So I did bring it up this morning, and because he's doing it again today. He did it again today, and I said, you gotta mix that up.
And as I told you, I totally agree.
Yeah.
But I'm similar in your dad. Like there are many worries, but I really don't care what I look like at all. So I know this is ridiculous. It's stupid. And sorry, Dana, but I thought of you immediately.
I was just going to say, Josh, wearing a blue sweatshirt, royal blue sweatshirt, and royal blue shorts, that's something that usually I would wear, and that's not a compliment.
Yeah, it's your outfit.
I've never noticed you wearing something like that.
He wears a lot of royal blue.
Royal blue.
It's changed lately, though.
I have. I've been trying to broaden my horizons a little bit and not just wear royal blue everywhere constantly.
Insomniac Jesus said, so, you're a Smurf. Yeah, I'm kind of dressed like a Smurf.
There you go.
A little bit.
Yeah, if it makes you feel any better, it's definitely not going to make you feel better. If I was in public and saw you, I would definitely comment about it to whoever I was with.
Yeah.
Like, give me an example of what you might say.
I'd probably just say, look at that guy. His favorite color must be blue.
That dude looks like a dork. Is
Look at that
probably
dude.
What, yeah.
You know what
What's
makes
up with
it
all the blue?
And what makes it worse? I'm 50. I mean,
Yeah.
if I was 13, 14 years old, I might get a pass. Or if I was a little kid, your parents are dressing you. It's not his fault or her fault.
You got to mix it up.
I know you're right.
You have to. Before we get to this conversation, there's a reason why I asked about my godson's internet practices, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But I had to talk about your ensemble. I was telling Josh that there were I only have a couple of pet peeves when it comes to, well, the word is not fashion, but just clothing. I have a couple of pet peeves. And one of them is you got to mix up the top and the bottom. You can't be perfectly matching. There's something irritating about that for me personally.
Unless it's black.
Oh, okay. I was just going to ask you, black and blue, your thoughts?
Sure.
My wife is very against it. If I ever have black and blue on, she thinks I look ridiculous.
It depends what shade of blue.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
But
boy, this is complicated.
I know, it is.
Just stick with what you got, Josh. You're fine.
When I was younger, I didn't realize how silly I was being. Someone had to call me out on it, and I changed my ways. And since this moment, I've had a pet peeve about this. I once walked into a bar many years ago when I was a young guy wearing a Toronto Maple Leafs jersey and a Detroit Tigers hat. And someone said, oh, here comes Bourne representing Detroit and Toronto. They busted my ball sport, and it dawned on me, this is stupid. Why? I can't do this. You can't represent two different teams at the same. So that's been a pet peeve of mine. So
you've given me crap for that before.
Yeah, you wear like a Wild hat and a Viking shirt. You can't do that. It's just silly. Unless you're in grade school. Then beyond grade school. Anyway.
I hate NFL hats, though. Well, you know what? Actually, they're coming out with some better ones. But a lot of times they're just outrageous, They're kind of silly.
They're a little over the top sometimes.
Yep.
So here's why I asked if Josh's son, more importantly my godson, has ever Googled anything about his dad or mom or both of them collectively. Google shared a bunch of stats on the top things American kids have been Googling about adults.
Now, I've never seen anything like that. I've never seen my son
What about
Googling.
porno?
No, he's, luckily for me, I don't have to have that conversation.
He knows how to delete his porno.
Well, I'm worried about that.
Yeah, he's got an iPad stashed somewhere.
Here's the thing, though. My router or whatever, my modem, it'll tell me everything that's been going on.
Oh.
So even if he goes to incognito mode or whatever, my modem is the tattletale.
Heck yeah.
So I can look at that. I can look at my Xfinity app, and it'll tell me, hey, no, your kid's looking at this kind of thing.
Wow.
So I do check that, too.
I bet it sucks in the year 20 and 25 to be a 13-year-old kid and have techie parents.
Oh, dude, it's not fair. And I realize that, too. Between cameras and I could tell when doors open and close, windows open and close.
Yeah, that sucks.
You understand everything there is to understand about a computer. And what did you were just using words I don't even understand. I mean, what were you saying?
Well, I don't know if it's my modem or my router.
You can figure out any damn thing. Even if he uses some kind of mode to cover up what he's searching, you can figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not super complicated, but...
Well, it would be for me.
It wouldn't be if I showed you. You just look at the app. It's easy.
Wow. That just hit me. To be in the year 20 and 25, you're a 13, 14, 16, 17-year-old kid, and you have techie parents? Oh, I bet that blows.
And even when the kids think they're getting one by on you, like my oldest. So he thought he was sneaking out and nobody knew it. We understood what was going on.
Wow. All right.
I have one on this. Well, never mind. Sorry. Once we get to it, this is the only one I can imagine him Googling on this list.
So here are some of the things that kids are Googling about adults. It's not specifically about their parents, I guess, but just adults. Here are the top 5 questions that start with, why are adults so blank? Number 1, why are adults so mean? They think we're mean.
Because we're all angry and exhausted.
Well, maybe because you're being a little puke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he's Googling that. I'm usually not in a terrible mood.
Why are we so mean?
By the way,
because you have to punish them for something they did that was not great.
Yeah, I remember I had a couple of buddies when we were real little where when their parents would get mad at them, that's how they would try to gain sympathy from their parents. You're being mean.
Did it work?
No.
Yeah. What?
No.
Oh, am I?
But they would try it.
No, I'm just being your parent.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You're being mean.
By the way, I don't want to share this publicly, just so if there's kids listening. But people are telling me how my son could get around those protections I have.
Yeah, I'm seeing that.
And
I didn't realize it was that simple.
Yeah, there's one very easy one that I'll tell you I never considered it.
So you're getting more advice right now from our listening audience as to how to bust your son searching inappropriate things on the internet.
Now, here's the good thing.
He's never going to see Ray J and Kim Kardashian at this point.
Well, unless one of his buddies shows him.
Oh.
But here's the thing about that. He's kind of stupid. You know this. He's not. We set up a college fund, and that's just going to be wasted money. He's never going to be able to go. He just doesn't have the mental capacity, so he probably wouldn't figure this out.
A lot of influence from his godfather, I would say there.
But yeah, I never. Thank you for these texts. Never considered how easy it would be for him to get around that.
Yeah. Very easy workaround.
Yeah, but Cubby will figure it out.
Not what? Yeah, with the brother and sisterhood's help, So I got to figure something else out now.
He's got no chance to see that what do they call that gimmick? He's never going to see that night vision Paris Hilton movie at this point.
I've actually never seen it.
Oh, it's horrible.
Just the audio. Oh, it is horrible?
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Can you
love
see much?
Not really.
I see everything. All right, the next question, most common question that kids are asking about adults, or I should say, the questions kids are Googling about adults. Why are adults so obsessed with Disney?
Well, so that one was weird to me. My mother-in-law is. She is a Disney freak.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely love that and Christmas. That's why we went to that Christmas store and got you guys those sexy ornaments. So thank God she's into it. Otherwise, I never would have known. But she's really, you could say, obsessed with Disney.
So is my future mother-in-law. For Christmas, her Christmas tree is all Disney themed.
So Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Goofy and
Cinderella, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah,
I suppose
huge.
the list is, I'm sure, much longer than I could attempt. Disney movies, all that stuff. Okay, I didn't know that was happening. The next Googled question, where kids are asking about adults: why are adults so stupid? Yeah, you're friggin' stupid.
Yeah, you're the one that has to Google it, you stupid head.
Go get a friggin' job.
I never thought my parents were stupid. And my dad was actually very bright. In case my mom's listening, you too. But mostly my dad. I would say I thought they were just out of touch and just didn't get it.
Yep.
That was more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
Not stupid. They just didn't understand what was going on really in the world.
God, I remember thinking that so much when I was younger, especially in my early teen years. Just, I never believed anything they said about the experiences they had when they were younger. I always thought, no, but for me, it's different. You don't understand. But no.
We all had our moments where we thought we knew everything. Let me tell you this. I know I'm by far the smartest guy in town, but if a little kid ever calls me stupid, he better run. You don't know Dick Tracy, okay? You're a kid. Shut up. Next question. Why are adults so tired?
So I was mentioning there might be one on the list. I think that's one I could see my son Googling. More so his mom, because she's teaching classes. She's in fitness, so she teaches these fitness classes all the time. By the way, text 651-989-9393 if you have a fitness joke for me.
Oh, sure.
So she teaches all these classes, so she gets pretty beat.
Yeah, you'll get it someday, kid. Why are adults so tired? Because we have jobs. Why are adults so condescending to kids? How about because you're 11 and you don't know what you're talking about?
Yeah, why are you using that word?
Yeah. Yeah, who taught you the word condescending?
And there were a lot of things I looked up on the internet when I was a kid, but none of these are any of them.
No, absolutely not.
Well, things have changed. The next set of questions, here are the top questions that start with, why are adults always blank? We had, why are adults so blank? Now it's, why are adults always blank? These are what kids searched on Google. Why are adults always so happy? Is something that kids have asked on the internet. I don't know, because
They've got good parents.
I'm going to say drugs and
alcohol and good times. Alcohol and good times. Why are adults always late to trends? Because we don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I would be if it weren't for having kids. I'm still kind of late. Like, I don't know, just a month ago I started saying slay, and apparently that's not cool anymore.
Nah, that's way out.
Oh, help me. Slay? What was, give me the context.
Like something's cool.
Killing it.
Oh, that slays? That sweat ensemble that you're wearing, Josh, that totally slays?
Yeah, I don't know if I've never heard it plural.
Oh.
I've just heard slay.
I'd say how Nick put it is correct.
Oh.
Slays?
Yeah.
I'm just saying I've never heard it that way.
All right.
Somebody be like, hey, I got a new iPhone. Slay. Something like that.
Okay.
That's the worst way.
Here's a text message. That's the worst way to use it.
Yeah, that's the one that, because that is more like the younger kids use it that way.
Got a text message here from local 34 Jesus, who texted in to say, I like how you're so offended by this, but me too. Shut up, kid.
I feel you.
Yeah. I generally don't like kids.
Why did it make me mad that kids are looking up, why are we stupid?
I don't know.
What's wrong with you?
Dairy farming, sheet metal, banging your mom, Jesus said. He always tells his kids, adults aren't necessarily smart, but we've been around longer, so we've seen more, and they seem to understand that. I kind of throw that out, too. I wouldn't say I'm smart, but I just have more experience in certain things.
Kids also Googled, why are adults always tired? Okay, we covered that. Why are adults always busy?
Because we're paying for your sports.
Right.
We got stuff to do.
And why are adults always so unreasonable?
Again, with the big word.
I can picture like a 13-year-old girl just crying at her keyboard and Googling that out of desperation. Why are my mom and dad so unreasonable?
You know what Google they should have when you fill this out, your search, they should also say exactly why you think your parents are unreasonable, and I bet some of those excuses are hilarious.
Yeah. I want to go on a date with a 19-year-old and my parents are being totally unreasonable. Right?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
He's the best thing that's ever happened to me, and he loves me, and he understands me, but my parents won't let me go out with a 19-year-old because they're unreasonable.
I'm a fifth grader.
Yeah,
I get how this works.
Right. I know how we're going to get married.
I know what true love is.
And my dad said he was a loser.
But he's not. He's got a crotch rocket and a pierced ear. He's so cool.
Yeah.
That does sound cool, to be honest.
You want to date him?
Yeah, I mean, is he single? You have a sister?
There you friggin' go. What else is going on around here? Oh, we have a guest today, don't we?
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up.
We want to make sure folks get a heads up on this. It's been a while since we've seen, by damn, he's an old friend at this point. We've known him for decades.
We've seen him change over the years, haven't we?
Changes, times, making changes in my life, Tesla said back in 1986. Yeah, we've seen some changes in this man, and he's seen those changes in us.
And you know what else? He bridges gaps. Slay, because he's a criminal defense attorney. So you'd think some of the cops would be like, look at this jerkwad, criminal defense attorney. How can you do this or that? But he gets along with all the cops. And I saw it on our booze cruise where we had some police officers hanging out, and they're like, hey, where's Pacyga? We really want to meet Pacyga. He's just that type of guy. He's the life of the party. He's one of the smartest guys we know. We were talking about being smart, very well-spoken. And I'll tell you what, if I was ever, this is not a commercial, but this is true. If I was ever in trouble, he'd be my guy. I passed his information on to my older kids saying, now, hopefully you never need this, but if you do, shut your mouth and get a hold of this guy.
Oh, 100%, Josh. I'm with you there. It's just his personality. He's very, what is the word, like suave?
Personality.
I say slays.
He's got a lot of that. Joining us later, if you've gotten yourself into a legal snafu. And
people make mistakes. Good people make mistakes.
Sure they do. They do, you bet. If you've gotten yourself into some legal trouble and you got a question or two on your mind, you can text in later when our guest, criminal defense attorney Ryan Pacyga, joins the Half-Assed Morning Show. Always very informative stuff.
Definitely, and he texted, I don't fully understand it, but he said he wanted to talk a little bit about buoys. BWI, buoy? Is that what that is?
I don't know. Are they saying it that way?
Intoxicated?
I'm kidding. Boating while intoxicated.
I thought maybe there was a new term for BWI.
Oh, because we were talking about cool things.
Yeah, I mean, you always know all the hip new terms, so I thought that people were calling BWIs buoys.
Maybe there are. You know what? There's probably some, like, rich, well, the parents are rich, 16-year-olds in a yacht on Lake Minnetonka that say buoy. You know, that's kind of a cool thing. I
hadn't heard that one before. I thought you were just... teaching us a new term. BWI.
Yeah, so he was going to bring that up.
Okay.
Obviously, it's that time of year.
I came close to a BWI once.
And if I remember right, that wasn't your fault.
Well, it wasn't my fault that we got pulled aside by the cops on the lake.
And you were being responsible. Like, you weren't hammered.
I was. I ended up right on the limit, right on the line, and I was free to go, but that was a kind of a close call. Yeah, it wasn't my fault. I didn't realize my wildly intoxicated buddy was lying on the swim pad on the back of the boat as I was going across. No, you have to be in your seat, you schmuck, and that's why they pulled me over. Yes, BWIs, it's a thing, and it's that time of year, like you were saying. So
is that? I'm not. So I've never owned a boat. Growing up, we never were on boats.
Word.
To me, it seems like it's like the last 10 years that's become a thing. Where before it was like, oh, you're on a boat, cool, get as hammered as you want.
Yeah, just like regular DWIs, it's become more of a, I can't think of any other way to put it than the way you did, Josh. It's become more of a thing. I'm very careful out there. Absolutely every time I'm very careful because although I was free to go on the day that I got pulled over and I was given all the tests and everything and I passed, that was, I guess, a wake-up call. Every single time I go out there, I'm 100% careful with my beer intake because it ain't worth it, not even by a long shot.
Yeah, no, you're right. You don't want to go through something like that.
Let me tell you something, though. I wonder if most folks have this shared experience with me. When I came close to getting a BWI, as soon as I got off the lake, I got as drunk as possible.
Oh, I would too.
You know
100%.
what I mean? Because it was kind of a stressful situation. I mean, not that I was never, ever worried, not even for a second throughout the entire process. I never got nervous at all because I knew I am not drunk. And I knew that I was going to be fine. It wasn't until I blew into the thing, and it was .08 that I said, oh, Jesus. Never was I worried. Where I think 9 times out of 10 when you get pulled over in a car, get pulled over on a boat, you're nervous. You're thinking, oh, God, this is it. I'm done. I never had a single second of concern until I blew a .08. And the cop said to me, she said, now, when I pulled up on you, you were drinking a beer. And I said, yeah, I was finishing off the last little bit of my beer. And she said, well, probably the only reason you're 0.08 is because of mouth alcohol. So I'm convinced you passed all the tests. I'm convinced you're good. You can go. But just because it was a close call, I went out afterwards, once I got that boat to the dock, and I got as drunk as humanly possible. I wonder if that's a common thing when you have a close call with a BWI or a DWI.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, where you go, okay, now I'm free to really dump them down.
So earlier you made a Tesla reference.
I did? Oh, the band.
Yeah, the band.
Yes, of course.
Not Nikolai or Nick. At the band.
I was thinking the car. Anyway, yeah.
And someone texted in a screenshot. Tesla's coming to Mystic Lake in October. 2 shows.
You know who informed me of that last night?
Your wife?
A woman that I'm very much looking forward to you all meeting someday, my wife.
We've all met her.
She brought it up last night, and she said, do you want to go? And I said, well, I always want to go see. So we're looking into that show. And what did you say, October? What?
In October. It's a Friday and a Saturday night. That's how much they rock.
Oh, wow.
Lick me down. Maybe they'll play the song Changes, which is one of my favorite Tesla songs.
Oh, it's a great song.
Ever. All right, we got to get going. Like we were saying, Ryan Pacyga is going to stop by later. Someone just texted in, how do they test you for BWI on a boat? I can tell you. It's similar to what you get on the roadside. I was curious, too, when I was pulled over on my boat. What are you going to make me do here?
Go do a backstroke in the water?
How am I supposed to walk in your boat with a straight line? It's all kinds of other things. So we'll take a break. We'll come back with the stupid news here in a few minutes on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
I'm Paula Pan. I help people make the smartest money decisions possible. Because let's face it, money's too important to wing it.
What you'll hear is a couple money geeks sitting and talking about this stuff that we're so passionate about.
You name it. Anything that's on your mind. Retirement, debt, student loans, saving for college.
It's a personal finance journey. It is a wide-ranging squirrel conversation about the topic of personal finance and good financial planning. Super fun.
Afford anything. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Stupid news on the Half-Assed Morning Show.
We talked a little bit about smart mouth kids earlier, didn't we? We talked a little bit about the smart mouth kids. It's always a problem with the young people. You want to know something funny, Josh?
What's that?
Fat, friendly, steel-hauling Jesus. He texted in. His dad back in the day had a bumper sticker that said, hire a teenager while they still know it all.
That's awesome. That's perfect. You're perfect.
Yes, I am. I'm burned out on the derelicts acting up at Walmart. I think we're all burned out on folks acting like entitled pricks in general. But for me personally, being a Walmart fan, it upsets me that garbage people keep giving that joint a bad name.
I love Walmart.
Walmart rules.
It is weird how much news comes out of Walmart, and they've got the People of Walmart website, which is pretty funny. But it is kind of strange that it seems to originate. It's like Walmart and Florida. It's easy enough to find some kooky things that happen.
I just love that place. When I walk into a Walmart, I get excited. There's so much to see. There's so much to do. And I'm tired of garbage pile human beings ruining that experience for so many of us. I haven't personally had a day completely ruined at Walmart because of a derelict, but I know so many of us have. So
I've never seen anything there, and I'm kind of jealous in a way. It's always been normal. at the Walmarts I've gone to.
Well, I told you the one experience I had at Walmart where I was in the hooded sweatshirt department. And as you can tell by my wardrobe, I know my way around the hooded sweatshirt department.
I also am very familiar.
And there was a guy-girl couple near me, and I overheard the guy say, "Hey, keep an eye out." And his woman said, "Why?" And he had his hands on a hooded sweatshirt, and he says, "Because I'm about to steal this MF'er."
You're not supposed to say that.
Now, here's a listener who does not like Walmart.
What? Well, a lot of people don't.
What's the problem? What is it you don't like about the joint? The wonderful deals? The wide array of products that you can purchase? What is it that has you upset?
You know why I like Walmart?
Go ahead, Cubby.
It doesn't insist upon itself.
No, it does not. It's very subtle.
It is.
It does not insist upon itself like other retail stores do certainly insist upon themselves.
It's your everyman.
How can you not like a place that usually has a Subway inside of it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Get a little bite to eat while you're there.
A couple people are texting and they don't like Walmart. Give us a reason why. I'm willing to have an adult conversation with you.
Oh, yeah, I like other people's opinions. I like to hear why. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, here's a couple reasons why. Anti-union propaganda? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and raise my hand and say I have no idea what that means.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I'll look into that.
Have you ever looked into how much a manager at a Walmart makes?
No.
Woo, doggy.
What?
Yee, doggy.
They're raking in the big bucks?
Oh, yeah.
Good for them.
But what about all that anti-union? I got to look that up. I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't hear about
Whatever.
that. That's a deep reason. I thought someone was going to say because their milk goes bad or
Yeah,
something.
right.
I didn't think it was going to be such a deep, serious reason, and I'm not being sarcastic. I promise I will look into that because I don't know a word about what you're mentioning.
I hadn't heard that either.
Yeah,
that's one of those where you're thinking, well, nobody's going to say something that's going to change my. Oh, I didn't know that.
And you go, oh well, I'll have to.
I will reconsider my position.
I'll have to go ahead and. Even the older folks can't keep from doing shady things at Walmart. A 73-year-old lady from my least favorite state in our union, she got her sad, old, broken ass arrested this past Saturday for shoplifting at her neighborhood Walmart. She goes by the name of Angela something. It doesn't matter. She's a moron. Walmart security pounced on her and gave her a good beating when Angela tried to up and walk out the store without paying for a bucket of shampoo, a pair of socks, some men's shorts, and whatnot. About $100 worth of this and that, according to the story.
Question.
Yeah, yes.
As a fellow bald man,
Yes.
do you use shampoo?
No.
Just body wash?
Body wash.
That's what I do, too.
All over the place.
Yeah, everywhere.
Oh, cool.
Whole body.
Probably saves so much money.
Every nook and cranny, Dana.
You can really get in there?
Oh, yeah.
So far,
I'll be the judge of that.
it's so thorough that it stings a little bit. How deep we get into it with our All right. So this 73-year-old lady tries to leave Walmart with about $100 worth of merchandise, adding an even more pathetic layer to this nonsense. Angela, the old lady, she told the cops that, quote, the devil made her do it. Oh, shut up.
Hate when the devil makes me do things.
She told the cops that the devil told her to buy the items, but she didn't have enough monies, so she attempted to steal them to not upset the devil. I'm guessing if the cops contacted the devil himself, Josh, he would say, are you kidding me? I'm the damn devil. You think I'm working with this loser?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. The devil has more important things to do. Like, the devil's pretty linked in with Cumulus Corporate. He's working that angle a little bit.
I'll tell you what the devil's busy with these days, Josh. He's leaving his mark on the NBA playoffs. That's what the devil's
Kind of
doing.
seems that way.
So Grandma Angela, the dirty sneak thief, she went off the court already. and the judge has ordered her to stay away from all Walmart. The devil, she says.
Well, I can tell you, checking texts here about the thoughts, taking the temperature of the brother and sisterhood on Walmart.
Sure.
If we could. Rectal, of course.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people that agree with you and me on Walmart.
Well, we didn't know about the other stuff.
Is that common knowledge? If it is, I apologize for being so out of the loop. I'd never heard that about the union. There's a few other things that people are texting in, so okay. Well, I hear you. That's something to consider.
As you might.
I stayed mostly quiet for a reason when you were talking about your love for Walmart.
You feel differently?
Yes.
Okay, well, as you might have.
Even though it doesn't insist upon itself?
I was raised a Target girl, though. So
I love.
I was raised a Target girl, too.
So I think I navigate towards that side of things.
No, that's fine. I love both. And I think it's okay to love both. But, how would I have ever heard word one about union this or union that?
Yeah, you're not on social media. That's where I've seen that
I'm not terribly. I'm not terribly deep into. I was just talking about the experience of hanging out there and buying a hoodie and a gross of Little Debbie snack cakes. I don't know the inner workings of the place, so there you go.
They do have an insane selection of Little Debbie snack cakes.
They have some that I've the last time I was there were 3 or 4. I don't know if it was specifically Little Debbie brand, but they had 3 or 4 types of cupcakes and sweet treats that I had never even heard of before.
Just beautiful.
Well, here, this makes me feel better, and this might help you too, Nick, from HVAC/R and stuff.
What's that?
He works at Walmart.
Yes.
And had never heard the union thing either.
Yeah, I don't know what people are talking about. But again, I'll look into it.
Do you guys go out of your way when you go there to make sure that the person sitting at the door gets acknowledged?
Absolutely.
I hate when people walk by and don't say anything to them.
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah, like the greeter that sits at the front entrance.
Oh, I've never noticed a greeter.
I guess sometimes they're not there,
No.
sometimes they are.
They're kind of known for that.
Yeah, I haven't seen one in a number of years.
Never noticed a greeter. So you're saying if you go to a joint like that with a greeter, you make sure that you say hello to them?
Yes, like, how are you?
Oh.
I'm sorry that the last 3 people avoided you completely.
Well, isn't that the nicest damn thing I've heard all day?
I always feel bad, and it's always some, like, sweet old person.
Yeah, it's usually an older person. Here's somebody else that said, but Target has the best eye candy. I will say that there appears to be more MILFs at Target.
Yeah.
Oh, the Target in Coon Rapids, especially because there's a couple gyms around that area. So they'll go to the Target after the gym with their spandex and their sports bras on and stuff.
MILFs, college girls too, by God. All right, we were just talking up Satan on the subject of a higher power, if you believe in that kind of thing. You guys know Satan's longtime rival, Jesus H. Christ. I wonder what Jesus would make of this guy, a 51-year-old garbage pile human living out there in Pennsylvania by the name of Jesse. He walked into an unlocked church last month, and he took to wandering around the building. Nothing better to do. Just a bag of garbage is all he is. Oh, he sorted through a lost and found box in the church. Maybe he was looking for what used to be his life. But anyways, eventually, the dirty bastard went ahead and took a squeege smooth into the holy waters. He did.
That's pretty gross.
Dong out in a church, and then he made pee right into that barrel of holy waters that they keep right by the greeter.
There are greeters at church.
There are?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I've also never noticed a greeter at a church.
Yeah, sometimes there's one on either side of the door.
Jesus, I got to open I don't know anything about the union problems at Walmart. I don't know anything about the greeters at Walmart or the greeters at church.
You got some research to do today, man.
You've never seen the people handing out the little flyer or a program, ahead of time?
No, I mean, but I haven't been to a church outside of a funeral or a wedding since I was 9.
Is it the union?
It's a union issue, yes, that I have with. So here's this guy wandering around a church when no one else is there. Looks to see if there's anything to steal. There was nothing. So he took a piss in the holy water. The church had security cameras rolling. like their name was James Brolin. So they saw Jesse's little pecker. The church showed the video to the police. They recognized Jesse and his sad little acorn right away. So he's off to jail. And he's a career cutie pie with past convictions for things like criminal trespass and indecent assault without consent. So I think this time around they're going to keep Jesse for a good stretch of time.
Yeah, I hope so. That's pretty disturbing. So you never walked in, got greeted by somebody at church, dipped your fingers in the holy water, and did that whole ordeal?
What?
No, I never got involved with the holy water. Yeah. Was I supposed to do something with that?
Well, I mean, it's personal choice.
Okay. No, I never. I always thought that was kind of gross that everyone was dipping their fingers in the same bucket.
There are a lot of people that do that, sure.
Oh,
Did
yeah.
I say on air my most recent, not that I have a lot of them, but holy water stories with my son? Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I brought that up.
Yeah, he lit himself up with the holy water.
Yeah,
It
he
shocked him.
We were at we went to church and he got shocked when he put his fingers in there and he brought it up, and I think he was a little nervous, and I of course went along with it and said, "Whoa, are you serious? Like you got shocked by that holy water? You got to make some life changes, man. That's God giving you some signs that you're doing things wrong." And he kept getting shocked. Eventually, my wife told him it was just the shirt he was wearing. She kind of ruined it all, but I thought that was pretty good.
That's a hell of a deal. All right, I got to warn you. This is dark. I
You
remember.
like dark.
Yes, I do. But there is a line. There is a line, Josh. There are exceptions to my rule. I do love dark stories. I remember covering this horror show once before. I do. This is just awful and disgusting and evil. But I'm going to go ahead anyway. A feller called Marius Gustafsson. He's a little bit of a different type of guy now. This year's story calls him the leader of an extreme body modification ring. And if you can't exactly figure out what that means, I'll get there.
I met a body
leader of a-
modification ring once at a 93X event.
You met a body modification ring?
Yeah, they called themselves like a body modification. I can't remember, so I'll just go with ring, like in this story. But they did stuff like kind of what do they call subdermals? Is that
Oh,
what they call
yes.
it? Where they stick like stuff underneath their skin, and they used to do that. What's it called when you hang by your skin?
Ugh.
By hooks.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea.
They showed me. I thought they were joking when they said, "Oh yeah, we do this." I thought they were kidding, but then they showed me these videos. They're like hanging from trees with hooks through their
That
skin.
is absolutely
I'm-
crazy.
I know
man.
somebody's going to know, and the brother and sisterhood.
Well, these folks
Oh,
that I'm about to tell you about, they're at a different level than even what you just explained, Josh. Last year, this here Marius guy was sentenced to many, many years behind bars for his role in the extreme body modification club that I was telling you about. Now, the latest on this effing guy is that he came up with some type of silly appeal to his sentence, and the judge said, "Kiss my ass. We ain't changing a damn thing about your sentence." So we're up to speed on that. We're up to speed. He went to jail for many years. I'll tell you why. Recently, he dumped some appeal, and the judge said, "Get the hell out of here." In case you hadn't already heard the story, because like I said, we did cover it a long time ago. Or, if you want to be reminded, or if you haven't heard at all what the F is going on with this Marius dude, he and his partners in this body modification gang, I should say extreme body modification gang, they got off on performing what they call here male castrations, penis removals, and other procedures like that. They even tore Johnsons off of a kid as young as 16.
that's not right.
I told you this was dark.
All right, I thought I had a fancier name when I was talking about hanging by some hooks, and the hooks are through your skin. Suspension.
Yep. Yeah, that sounds right.
That's just it, huh?
Yeah, suspension.
I had a friend that liked doing that, and I didn't like when she would post pictures on the internet of it.
Not.
There's a couple of people that say they're into it or were into it.
I've never met anybody who's even ever talked about it.
How? I mean, how do you get into something like that?
I'd be a little worried.
Yeah, have you, the people that are texting in that have done it, has anything ever gone wrong? I want to know.
I bet the answer is yes.
What if a bear thinks you're bait?
Yeah.
And the bear just eats you right out of the tree.
What if right when you get yourself on that hooks, oh, Christ, I got a phone call. What do you do? Right when you
Bluetooth, man.
Right when you get yourself on that hooks, for God's sake, the doorbell rings.
Yeah, you just put a headphone in.
Yeah.
You just use your Bluetooth.
According to the story in front of me, this Marius guy, okay, he once went ahead and he cooked human testicles that he had cut off of somebody. And then he plump, he plopped them into a salad. And then he ate it.
No, he didn't. No.
Yes, he did.
No, dude, no, he did not.
He just said he did.
Please tell me no.
He cut the testicles off of somebody, and then he cooked them up. I'm just cooking them up over here. You got any vegetable oil over there? You got any Pam? I'm going to cook a set of human nuts over here. And then he plump. He threw them on top of his salad. You got to have some greens in your diet. And then he ate it. He did. And it wasn't just other folks' tallywhackers that he enjoyed mangling. It says here at one point or another, when he was obviously perfectly sane, he hacked off his own little Rodney with a kitchen knife. And there were other folks involved in these sickening crimes. They also had an appeal hearing. This Marius fella and the other wackos who enjoyed sawing genitals off of underage kids argued that their victims consented to be assaulted.
Well, that makes it okay.
But again, the judge said, blow me.
Good for the judge.
Word is here the extreme body modification gimmick is linked to a subculture where men become nullos, N-U-L-L-O-S, which is short for genital nullification, by having their penis and testicles removed. And you know what? If that's the route you want to take, go ahead, but there's got to be a better way to go about it. There's got to be a better way to go about it than to go see a guy like this.
Use your own. Yeah, that's terrible.
Use your own.
Your own privates. Don't go after the 16-year-olds.
Right.
Then you can have your Testi-Kale salad if that's exactly what you need.
This Marius person was paid to obliterate other folks' penises. And, of course, he made videos, too. And as we've been discussing this, some of it is coming back to me now. Marius froze his own leg until it needed to be amputated. He didn't need that leg anymore. It was just getting in the way. He froze his own leg until he could cut it off. There was, quote, clear evidence of cannibalism going on with this crowd. They put severed body parts up for sale online. Garius or Barius, whatever the hell I said this guy's name was, the boss of this extreme body modification ring. He was trying to sell severed wangs online. When he was arrested, police found his dead, severed pee-pee in a drawer at his house. It had been there for 4 years.
Oh, the smell. The smell.
That's enough of that.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on that story. I have no questions.
That's enough of that.
No follow-ups?
No.
What about this text? I don't think there's a big enough pan for my fellas. He's saying he's got big nuts.
One of those giant ones where they make like the world record pancakes, you know?
Yeah.
You got to get out that big shore lunch frying pan for my nuts. You know what I'm talking about? Bust out that shore lunch pan. I got my bag over here I want to cook up for you.
Yeah, I'm going to need a wok. You can't put this in a normal pan.
All right, we got time for one more, I think. But that's pretty disturbing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Pretty from top to bottom.
Let's not try to top it here.
No, this doesn't top it. Not as far as disturbing goes. Selfies, though, we can go that route again real quick.
Very dangerous. They kill a lot of people, unfortunately.
Selfies keep killing off young people like the damn Black Plague. Here's a young dude who had a close call. I heard there's video out there, Summers, of this disaster. I didn't see anything yet, but maybe some of you will find it. 29-year-old tourist at a zoo in the damned, how do you say this again, Josh? Philippines. A tourist at a zoo in the Philippines was bitten by a crocodile and damn near killed dead while taking a selfie. And after this poor bastard was stitched back together, he said he thought that the crocodile was fake. Now, the story does say that this dude was, quote, mentally impaired. So I'm not entirely sure what that means, but I'm going to go ahead anyway. The dude climbed smooth over a fence at the zoo, which is put there to protect folks. The story notes nothing. The story makes no mention of this. Shouldn't there have been someone there to keep an eye on this kid if he's mentally impaired?
That's what I was thinking.
But anyways, the dude, once he got over the fence, he walked over to what he thought was a fake alligator to take his little selfie. And the crocodile bit the living hell out of his arm and held on to it. Bit down and held on. Next thing you know, the croc drags this effing guy into its little pond.
Oh, did they barrel roll?
Yes, and then it even cut loose with that death roll that we've heard so much about.
That's awesome.
And the dude screamed his nuts off from the pain of it all when it barrel rolled him. New guy in the corner at the zoo's puking his guts out. Other zoo goers, of course, are just stood around. They just stood around recording on their phone while this dude's just...
Despite it being absolutely awful, of course, the death roll is pretty cool. I like that they're capable of that.
The kid or young man, he handled it pretty well. I mean, he didn't look like he was freaking out too much.
Oh, he did?
Yeah,
the story says
probably
he's
in shock, right?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So you saw a video?
Yeah.
Oh, the story says he screamed like a bastard.
I didn't have the sound on.
Oh.
But yeah, he was kind of like more stunned than anything.
Yeah, in a situation like that, you're praying and hoping that you just go into shock and pass out from shock.
I'd be stabbing myself in the throat. I got to end this thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So right when it looked like this kid was dead for sure, a hero zookeeper hopped into the enclosure, and they rang that crocodile over the skull with a concrete block.
Whoa.
Just ba-ba!
They have no other way? They're not prepared?
I guess. I mean, in a pinch, I mean, all he had they rang that damn thing over its stupid head with a concrete block to get it to open its yap. It worked. And once the dude was dragged out of there by paramedics, a doctor had to dump 50 stitches into that arm to keep it from falling off.
That's insane. I mean, have you ever had an injury or seen an injury that was very bad and you think, oh my gosh, they're going to be stitched up like crazy, and then they come back and go, yeah, we had to throw 10 stitches in that bad boy.
Thankfully, no.
50 stitches.
That's a lot.
I really thought it would be more, but yeah, I don't know. It's terrible.
That guy's got a cool story, though.
I suppose you could look at it that way.
I'd leave the part that I jumped the zoo fence out, though.
Yeah.
It kind of people lose a little bit of empathy at that point.
How about that?
How would Sam in the wild? Somewhere?
Crocodile snuck up on me while I was in the bathtub.
Yeah. I was in the middle saving a whole bunch of kids from drowning, and then this happened.
There you friggin' go.
Sports on the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
And now we'll get our penalty.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
You guys, do you have a television channel called ESPNU?
I do, yes.
Mm-hmm. They were broadcasting, and I'm sorry I missed this. It was the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Men's Lacrosse Championship game a day or two ago. I can't believe that I didn't.
I taped it for you.
That seems right up your alley.
Yeah, you have it on tape?
Yeah.
This game featured the Sacred Heart Pioneers and the Siena Saints. Again, it was the Men's Lacrosse Championship for this specific conference. Someone in the crowd got a hold of a hot mic, and they said terrible things. You heard them. You heard them. They said, Sacred Heart has diarrhea. And then they repeated it. They said, Sacred Heart has a lot of diarrhea.
Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
And now we'll get our penalty.
A lot of people saying Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
Well, there you go.
Okay, we apologize for our crowd mic.
A lot of people are saying that Sacred Heart has diarrhea.
No, nobody was saying that.
I'm not sure who that person was or how they got a hold of a live mic, but lacrosse was fun there for a minute, wasn't it?
I'm surprised you don't find lacrosse at least somewhat entertaining because it's so violent.
Well, we went to a...
Violent?
Oh, yeah. They beat the heck out of each other.
Those friggin' sticks are as light as a feather. You don't even feel it.
No, God.
That's not
they
a
go
beating.
after each other. It's awesome.
I think we both had the same
It's like getting hit with a wiffle ball bat.
Where we went to a live lacrosse match, a professional lacrosse match. And I hope it's called a match. I apologize. And we both really enjoyed it.
We did.
But it was kind of one of those things where, all right, we saw it. Yeah, I have nothing bad to say about it. Really had a good time. It was very entertaining.
This is why we didn't get a team.
We did have a team.
No, I mean, they. I don't want to get the verbiage wrong, but they made it more professional. And so they put different teams in cities around the country, and Minneapolis did not get one.
Oh, we had one for a while, and it's funny. Josh is not exaggerating. We sat down, we watched the game, we enjoyed it. By the time we got to the top of the steps as we were leaving the arena, Josh said, I'm good on that. Yeah. And I said, you know what, me too, I'm good.
Yeah, I can say you did it.
It was so much fun.
You weren't exactly calling the season ticket reps, though, were you?
No, we weren't going to be buying Swarm season tickets or anything like that, as you said. But it was fun.
The Timberwolves game last night sucked. Boy, they were terrible, just terrible. Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder will be here in a half hour.
Did you make it up for the whole thing?
Shut off the television maybe with 2-3 minutes left.
Sure.
The last 2-3 minutes of a basketball game, especially the playoffs, it's like an hour.
Yeah, you got 90 extra minutes of sleep by turning off with 3 minutes left.
It was really bad. Twins had a nice start to their series with Baltimore. Randy Shaver and Brad Ryder will be here in a half hour, and we'll go to bananas with all this crap. But for now, we'll take a break. Come back with Josh's news report.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on Hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
Hey there, I'm Paula Pant, host of the Afford Anything podcast. I help people make the smartest money decisions possible.
You should not do the 401k loan.
Reason number 4,872. Are we heading for a recession?
You'd be shocked.
Dumping it into the house?
Invest in flipping houses.
Mathematically the better option.
Paula Pant's really keeping us in business.
Because face it, money's too important to wing it.
Review your budget.
Take the reins.
Sharpen your skills.
Do the things.
Start a side hustle
that will affect your life.
Right.
Afford Anything. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
In the 60s, I made love to many, many women, often outdoors, in the mud and the rain. And it's possible a man slipped in. Would be no way of knowing.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
So once I come out, I see your car with a bunch of lights on it, and then you just happen to light me up.
Okay.
Now you have a police car with lights in it.
Yeah.
You have a spotlight on it. You have all kinds of stuff on it, making it look like a cop car. And then you turn your red and blues on.
No, I really
and it's not. Nowhere in the system is that a cop car.
It happened again.
Oh, another grown person playing cops and robbers?
Yeah, and he was kind of like, yeah. You hear what I was going for.
Yeah.
A 67-year-old man caught and cuffed last week for playing make-believe with badges and blue lights. Body cam footage posted to social media last Wednesday shows the fake cop, 67-year-old Glenn Ross, being placed in the back of a real cop car during a 2 p.m. traffic stop. Ross is accused of driving a vehicle with unauthorized emergency lights and a spotlight, as well as falsely identifying himself as a federal agent, displaying a fraudulent TSA badge despite not having a federal employment history.
Did you see my card in there? I was on TSA, not as law enforcement TSA,
So
as
why do you have a law
inspection.
enforcement why do you have a special agent badge?
Couldn't answer that question.
67 years old, you said.
Playing cop at 67.
How pathetic.
Good
Just
Lord.
whatever happened.
Did you see my business card in there? Now, keep in mind, I was never employed as a cop.
No. But he did work. He says he did work for the TSA in some capacity.
Well, that's what he's suggesting.
Why don't folks just rent Bad Boys? That's what we used to do when we wanted to, have some cheap thrills, cop this and that, right? You rent Bad Boys with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence.
Impersonating a law enforcement officer creates significant public safety concerns, said Sheriff Chad Chronister. Our office has zero tolerance for those who threaten the integrity of the badge, he said. According to the sheriff's office, this wannabe Fed's flashy fantasies landed him a laundry list of charges, including unlawful use of a blue light, possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, and impersonating a public officer. Yeah, I don't know if I'll ever understand this one. Like, he's just play in your driveway.
It's just a wacky little childlike fantasy that some people can't shake.
Play a video game.
The head of one of America's most prestigious art museums is under investigation after putting his nude body on exhibit during a flight to Europe. Police were called to an April 18th United Airlines flight from Chicago to Munich after 55-year-old James Rondeau, president and director of the Art Institute of Chicago, stripped naked, unleashing his trouser snake on a plane. Less performance art and more federal offense, it was revealed that before the Art Institute president boarded the aircraft, he got wasted on a combination of alcohol and prescription medication, the exact combo that nearly landed my boy Nick in a Jamaican prison, Mon.
Yeah, that is true. But I kept my friggin' clothes on. I just chewed everybody out around me.
Yeah, you were fully clothed the entire time.
Yeah.
The Art Institute confirmed the incident, stating the report was indeed accurate and unfortunate.
The Art Institute takes this very seriously and has opened an independent investigation into the incident. And to clarify, James will voluntarily be taking time away from the office while the investigation is completed.
Rondeau, who's led the museum since 2016, is taking that voluntary leave, likely refocusing his creative energies on pants at this point. The bizarre episode follows a similar headline grabber in March when a woman stripped naked on a Southwest flight in Houston, prompting the plane to return to the gate.
Well, hopefully for this Rondeau guy, this is an isolated thing. He didn't know what he was getting himself into with the hooch and the pills, because that was my case.
Made you a different person.
Totally different person. I've never acted that way any other time.
After that situation, Nick, were you afraid that you were going to get fired?
No. I was too arrogant for that.
Love that.
That never entered my mind either.
No, never entered my mind.
I was more afraid he was going to go to prison. Because this was shortly after September 11th. People weren't messing around.
Oh, yeah.
No, I just, I was just hollering at everybody.
In a decision that's bound to raise some legal questions and perhaps a few shirts, the Minnesota Supreme Court ruled simply going topless isn't lewd under state law. In legal terms, boobs by themselves are not automatically bad behavior.
Okay.
Woohoo!
We've heard these stories so many times over and over again, and then I still don't know where we stand on this. Does this?
It's kind of like marijuana laws for me, where I think I understand, and then I'm corrected, and it turns out I don't understand it at all.
Exactly.
Last week's ruling effectively overturned a Court of Appeals decision against a 27-year-old woman arrested for walking around a gas station parking lot topless, and apparently she liked to let the ladies loose. Because according to court records, she'd previously presented the twins to law enforcement officers on at least 2 separate occasions. When questioned about her revealing ways, she said, kind of strangely, "I think Catholic girls do it all the time."
What?
I don't know. Okay. Maybe it makes sense in the context. I didn't understand.
I don't get that one.
And then she was arrested with a vial of cocaine in her purse. Okay.
Oh, no.
That one they're not going to legalize, at least currently. Initially charged with misdemeanor indecent exposure, she challenged the charges on the grounds that breasts aren't private parts, at least not in a legal sense. The lower courts nipped that argument in the bud, however, and disagreed, deeming her behavior obscene. But the Minnesota Supreme Court sided with the woman. The court said to be guilty of lewdly exposing oneself, a person would need to be involved in conduct of a sexual nature. And they said the state didn't prove evidence sufficient to prove lewdly exposing her body was meant to be titillating. In other words, topless isn't automatically tasteless, at least in the eyes of Minnesota law. And with police and prosecutors abreast of this new ruling, they have new guidance on how to interpret indecent exposure statutes going forward.
Ashley, is this going to change your behavior at the park or the beach or anything?
No.
Yeah,
nope,
I didn't think so.
absolutely not. There's children.
Is it because you also still don't understand what's going on?
Well, I don't really understand it, but also I have no desire to just be tits out.
Word.
Well,
or up. I don't want to be teased up.
I mean, unless, of course, like I understand when it comes to women that want to breastfeed their child, like that's a whole different route. But I don't think you should just be chilling at your local BP shirtless.
I think, so what to me, it seems like what they're saying is, hey, if you're topless, cool, but you can't be like dancing around, just pouring milk on your breast and then grabbing a cucumber and putting it between them, right? That's the difference.
All right.
I got to find something else to do this afternoon.
Yeah, I got to say, I think we need to take a break.
Oh, that's a bad mental image, guys.
Putting on a show. You can have them swinging, but don't be putting on a show for the kids.
That's what it seems like to me.
All right, then.
A South Carolina man decided the best way to patch things up with his ex-girlfriend after a text spat was to break into her house, crouch in the shower with a knife, and wear biker shorts on his face while pantless. Apparently looking to talk it out with some partial nudity and concealed identities.
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It really doesn't.
No, he appears to be kind of dumb. 25-year-old Jackson Arnold tiptoed through the ex's apartment, took up residence in the bathroom, armed with a knife and a disturbing lack of self-awareness. When she returned home, he sprang from the shower. He was miming throat-slashing gestures with his knife, and then he struck a pose with the blade to his head in a menacing manner. Things got worse, police say. Arnold dropped the knife and began choking her with his bare hands until she couldn't breathe.
Good Lord.
It wasn't until she managed to rip the biker shorts from his face she realized who it was, her ex-boyfriend. Arnold later told police it was all meant as a joke, and he just wanted to talk. The girlfriend and police, however, were not amused.
Sorry, bro.
What a dumbass.
That's just psychotic. Just straight up psychotic.
California Highway Patrol officers dodged disaster Friday after a scumbag hurled a freaking grenade at them in the middle of a car chase.
Why do you have grenades?
God.
The nearly disastrous incident began when CHP officers tried to pull over a 28-year-old in Oakland at approximately 3:30 p.m.
Now it makes sense now.
Yeah.
Oakland.
He only had one. That's weird.
Yeah.
Don't miss.
He was busted for driving a car that definitely wasn't his. When officers attempted to stop the vehicle, the felon fled and a pursuit ensued. As he put the pedal to the metal, he threw a bag from the driver's side window. Another cop, not involved in the pursuit, took a peek in the bag and immediately wished he didn't, as he discovered he was just inches from offering oral to the ordnance. Upon looking inside, the officer observed what he thought, that is, to be a grenade with the safety pin partially removed, police said in a statement, noting that the cop narrowly avoided catastrophe. The bomb squad showed up, secured the grenade, and the chase for the suspect resumed.
So for safety precautions, obviously, we evacuated that area, cleared everybody out. The other officers continued pursuing the suspect.
Eventually, he abandoned the stolen vehicle and tried to make his getaway on foot, but the cops were better runners and took the grenade guy into custody. After acquiring a search warrant, officers also scoured his residence, a multi-home dwelling where police say he was living illegally, but no further explosives were found. He was arrested on felony charges of possession and transportation of a destructive device, possession of a stolen vehicle, fleeing police, and resisting arrest.
I grew up with a guy who spent some time in Oakland, and he said, everything you've heard about this place is true, only it's 10 times worse.
Yeah, that's the reputation he gets, right?
Yeah.
That it's pretty awful.
Sounds like a good time.
A 47-year-old man waving around what looked like a rifle while screaming threats at people was arrested Friday. only for cops to realize the weapon was a massive bong. The object he was carrying turned out to be a bong in the shape of a semi-automatic rifle, police in Eugene, Oregon said.
Wow, he's so cool.
Sounds like a good way to get killed.
Cops received calls about a man stalking a store parking lot, threatening to kill people, and motioning with what was initially believed to be a gun. Police responded in full force. They flooded the scene with officers, the drone team, and even a Sweet Bearcat armored vehicle. Residents were told to shelter in place. Police warned motorists to avoid the area. After cops arrived, they approached the man and demanded he drop the, air quote, weapon, but he refused, leading officers to fire a less lethal round to neutralize the man without serious injury.
Did this guy want to get killed dead?
He did, unfortunately.
Oh, he did?
Yeah. They arrested the faux gunman, retrieved the bong, and charged him with disorderly conduct.
Yeah, because that sounds like a good way, Josh, to get killed.
Yeah,
dead.
Things aren't going well for him, but he did everything right if that's what he was looking for.
That is a ridiculous bong, too. Because I imagine it's supposed to be a play on shooting yourself when you hit it.
Oh,
I'm guessing it's placed that way. Yeah, that is crazy.
I don't know about those
I don't know if I'd buy that.
A decades-long cold case in Wisconsin is officially closed after authorities confirmed they found the body of the woman at the center of it. And that body is alive and well. The Sauk County Sheriff's Office had been investigating the disappearance of 20-year-old Audrey Backenberg, who vanished July of 1962.
62?
62. After years of searching, dead ends, and unanswered questions, the case eventually went cold until now. It was recently reopened as part of a broader review of cold cases, with a fresh new set of eyes, a meticulous review of the original files, new witness interviews, and a few newly uncovered details. Then investigators arrived at a startling conclusion, one they didn't expect. She's alive and well.
And now, 83, 4 years old?
82, I think, yeah.
Jesus.
She successfully disappeared and remained hidden for over 60 years, earning her the title of undisputed hide-and-seek champion.
I think she just was removed and, moved on from things and kind of did her own thing. She sounded happy, confident in her decision, no regrets.
I suppose in 1962 you could do that if you wanted.
Yeah, it was much easier than it would be now.
Disappear and never come back. Was she upset to be found?
Well, she didn't necessarily want to be found, but it sounds like she was in very good spirits. Talked to the officer, but did say, I'd like to remain unfound.
That's the life.
Yeah, no
That's
kidding.
the life right there.
And
Let's start over.
Sounds like she agreed to, tell the surviving folks that were in her life at that time, hey, you know what, she's alive. You can stop.
I bet they were pissed.
Yeah, a combination of being relieved and pretty furious.
I bet they were pissed.
As for the not-so-missing lady, police said her disappearance was voluntary.
10 minutes later, she called me, and we talked for 45 minutes.
What'd she say in those 45 minutes?
I told Audrey that I would keep it private. She had her reasons for leaving.
Police say there was no foul play or any criminal activity involved.
Ain't that something?
2 pint-sized Paul Walkers, only 12 and 17, were fast and curious about street racing on a Florida side street last week, which led to their arrests. A deputy parked in a marked patrol car spotted the vehicles racing straight toward him at high speed. He pulled them over, and what he discovered even surprised the veteran cop.
Do you have a license?
No, I was testing.
Hop out. How old are you? 12.
Body cam footage shows the moment both vehicles were stopped. The Fast and the Foolish juvenile drift featured a 17-year-old behind the wheel, and as you heard, the other driver, only 12. Whatever street racing cred they thought they had vanished instantly, however. When it came out, the car belonged to the front seat passenger, his mom.
Who owns this car? My mother. So she's going to be mad when it gets impounded today for racing on the highway?
Yes, sir.
Shortly after the kid's parents showed up, the father of the 17-year-old tried to talk the deputy down, but the officer wasn't having it.
I'm not driving an unmarked car. I'm in a completely marked patrol car, and they come racing at me.
I know, man, but damn. My son started college this year.
And he needs to get his head out.
Don't care, dude.
He knows the driver. This is 12 years old.
College, you said. Well, then he's got to get his head out of his ass.
Yeah.
In the end, the reckless joyride garnered more than a grounding. The 12-year-old faces charges for driving without a license and street racing, and the 17-year-old, who will likely be walking a lot more often from now on, walked away with a racing citation of his own.
Anyone else kind of wondering about this 17-year-old kid who's still hanging around 12-year-olds?
Yep.
It's a little odd.
Yep.
Yeah, unless they're cousins or something. Yeah, it's a little strange. The heat we're getting this week isn't from the sun. There's a rise in heat on the street with a stronger police presence on Minnesota roads throughout the summer. Authorities are hoping to stall the need for speed before things go from zero to tragedy. The way overly worded Minnesota Department of Public Safety's Office of Traffic Safety announced last week that extra law enforcement will be on the prowl through September 2nd, meaning more badges, mustaches, and squads on the road searching for scofflaws. In fact, nearly 300 law enforcement agencies statewide are teaming up to put the brakes on bad behavior. Memorial Day through Labor Day are typically the most traveled days on Minnesota roads and nationwide, dubbed the 100 deadliest days. This time of year carries some of the largest fatal crash counts, unfortunately, annually. So far in 2025, there have been at least 15 speed-related fatalities in Minnesota.
Be careful.
Yeah, look out. They're out there.
Hang on to your ass.
Speaking of fast driving, today, the Season 2 premiere of NASCAR Full Speed, a sports documentary series following NASCAR drivers chasing Cup glory as their teams compete for the chance to make history. NASCAR Full Speed Season 2 can be found on Netflix.
Well...
Alexander Ludwig, who played Bjorn Ironside, Ragnar's oldest son on Vikings, is 33. Tracy Lords, who played Hyde the Pickle when she was a porn star, is 57.
What a controversy she created, Cubby.
Did she?
Yeah, you don't know the story?
Well, I know I know the name. I can't remember.
You don't want to know the story.
No.
No, I mean, most people could handle the story. You could not handle the story.
Yeah, then I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And her last name's Lords?
Yeah.
It's inappropriate, it sounds like.
Oh, sure.
From the Luther Bloomington Kia text line. Lord is in the last name.
Yeah, then you really can't handle the story.
Happy anniversary to Roseville Ginger Jesus and his better half. They're going on a mini honeymoon to Michigan, where they'll be doing it in the Uper. Happy 20th anniversary to Army Mailman Jesus and his better half. He wanted to thank her for tolerating him for so long. Happy 18th to Ella from Dad, but you didn't mean not to, Jesus. And pegging for points, Jesus texts to wish his niece a happy 18th. And that's 93X News.
Can't you leave that name out of it?
That's what makes it so much better.
Come on.
Those are the best. I love it when people send in these very heartwarming, sweet texts, and then their Jesus or Jesus' name is discussed.
Yeah, when you're addressing your niece, can't you just be Jim for a minute, instead of pegging for... Because then you have to explain to her now what that means.
Well, maybe he likes cribbage. Maybe it's a cribbage reference.
Oh,
I bet it's not.
It is not a cribbage reference.
I mean, you can take it how you want, but maybe it's just a cribbage reference.
He takes it how he wants to.
Well, how somebody wants. Hopefully how he wants. And that's 93X News.
Randy Shaver.
Hey, pervert! What are you doing? On the Half-Assed Morning Show.
They're going to hold Minnesota under 90 points tonight. Golden State is simply a great defensive basketball team.
Something about the road teams here.
I mean, what is there to talk about? I mean, you're the leader of the team, and you got to come out and set the tone. If your shot's not going, you still have to carry the energy. If I got to talk to guys about having the right energy coming into opening second-round game, then, we're not on the same page. So,
you know what Finchie was thinking also? I got a haircut for this.
Oh, Teddy, I missed it.
He had a nice new haircut.
Nothing worse than wasting a haircut.
First thing I noticed when I turned the television on last night was, "Ooh, man, nice new hairdo, Finchie."
Yeah, right.
He looked slick last night. He cut his hair for that.
Yeah, he looked good. I don't know if you watched the video where that audio came from, but he just looked like a disappointed dad. He looked exhausted.
Here's the thing about Finchie. He's looked like a disappointed dad every night this basketball season. This club wears him out.
Yeah.
They wear him out. Randy Shaver, Brad Ryder.
Good morning. Well, I think, honestly, if you're a head coach in this league, too, seeing some of the things that have happened with head coaches this year, it'll add stress to your life, whether you admit it or not. I mean, you see what happened in Denver, you see what happened in some other places, too, and it starts to make you wonder a little bit, like, okay, am I next, or what's going on here?
Yeah, no one's safe.
Yeah.
He knows that.
Well, I think the thing in Denver, though, is that was more an issue between the general manager and the head coach.
Right. Yeah, I understand that.
That's not happening here.
Well, yeah, I get it.
But what you're talking about, Brad, though, about wearing a coach down.
Yeah.
That's happening. That happens on every team. But this time of year, when you expect to be better than they were last night, that's just got to be devastating.
They picked a hell of a time to play possibly their worst game of the entire season.
And I'm not saying that's happening here necessarily, but, I mean, we just went through an ownership change. So, I mean, I'm just saying, it makes – I know how some of these guys think, and I think it just adds another layer to things that they have to worry about.
Let's worry about this later. Possibly the worst game of the entire season.
Yeah.
Well, and, he's definitely looking at Ant's efforts last night. And not that he doesn't play hard, he does. But he just, when his shot's not falling, there's not a lot of other things that he's doing necessarily for the team. And that's what's frustrating him. Ant gets frustrated with the officials. He's arguing calls when he should be down playing defense.
Yeah, he does that all year long.
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that's frustrating for Finch when Ant's not involved right off the get-go. And a lot was made last night during the broadcast about the Wolves having 4 or 5 days off.
Right.
And having the rest. Yeah, that's a good thing. But they also were out of sorts from the very beginning. And only did they get back into it really in the fourth quarter. There was that stretch that got them back within, 6-7 points or whatever within Golden State. Otherwise, they just didn't click.
No. Well, one of our listeners texted in and said it appeared last night that no one had touched a basketball since last Wednesday.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's something, too. I'll talk some people off the ledge a little bit this morning. All 4 home teams, all 4 teams that have days off in the playoffs, OKC, Boston, Cleveland, I mean, the Timberwolves, they've all lost. And so I think there is a little bit of something to that. I think the Wolves are still going to be fine in this series. I really do. I think they're going to come out and dominate Game 2, and I think they can go to Golden State and win a game. I think it might be a longer series than the last one, but I think that they'll be fine.
Now, we're going to get to the big picture here, but we've got more Anthony Edwards conversation here in just a minute. But I just wanted to throw this your way. If you don't watch Anthony Edwards regularly, you don't know that when he's great, he's absolutely unbelievable. And when he's bad, he's really bad.
Yeah.
It's still true. He's still a young kid, 23 years old. There's still serious peaks and valleys in his play.
Can you guess?
If you're a new Wolves fan, you only tune into him in the playoffs, you probably watched last night and said, this Anthony Edwards guy, this is the guy where all the hype is coming from. When he's bad, he's really bad.
Can you guess why? I mean, he has no shortage of confidence, obviously, but do you have a theory as to
he's a little immature.
Yes, that's it right there. He just gets a little wound up. He maybe gets swallowed up by the moment at times. He tries to do too much. All of that. And that's all part of immaturity. I think that's all you have to say. He's immature. It's a fact.
I think last night, though, Nick, in watching him last night, he settled for – I mean, he did try to drive to the basket and just didn't have a lot of success early. And because he didn't, he wasn't – I mean, when Julius Randle came back from injury, we were on him when he started the season because he was shooting all the time. It was like the black hole. The ball goes in, never comes out. He comes back from injury, and he turns into this assist machine because that's just how he kind of got himself back into, like, the groove of the team. And I think Anthony Edwards just sometimes, if it's not going for him right away, he has a hard time figuring out how to get into that groove. And last night was a really good example of that. He instead of making the shots, he wasn't making the shots, and he wasn't really assisting either. He wasn't really.
They struggled all the way around.
He wasn't really doing anything to help the team offensively.
None of them were doing anything to help the team offensively. They appeared to be.
The focus is on him.
I know it's on him, but it shouldn't all be on him. I mean,
no, I know that, but that's where it starts.
Easily, I can say this. A minute ago, I said this was possibly their worst game of the season. Last night in Game 1 of their semifinal series.
First half, for sure.
It was possibly their worst game of the season. There's no possibly in this next statement. It's a certainty in my mind. The Wolves' second quarter last night was the worst quarter of basketball in the history of the franchise.
Oh, no.
The worst quarter of basketball in the history of the franchise.
Trust me, I've seen a lot.
I've seen more than you, Brad Ryder.
I don't think so.
From the word go. No, you haven't. There's no swinging D in this town that's watched more Wolves basketball than this friggin' guy right here. That was the worst quarter of basketball in the history of that franchise.
I was there during a 16-win.
You were there with your mom, is where you were. You were there with your mom.
Sweet, that's nice. What it meant last night, but no.
They lost Game 1 by 9. It was the only fun I had all night was when Stephon Curry got injured. That gave me a good feeling.
Well, that's a reason. I mean, you hate to say it, but that's a reason for some optimism. I mean, that's an injury that could linger.
Good.
He might not play in Game 2.
He's not going to play Game 2.
Good.
There's no way he's playing in Game 2.
But they were just so terrible. Yeah. They missed their first 16 shots from three-point range. It wasn't until 8 minutes were left in the third quarter that they hit a three-point basket, and they're usually, as you know, wonderful in that department. It was bizarre. And they overall just looked unprepared and unable to create good shots for themselves.
Well, I think you got to give Golden State some credit.
Sure, well, yeah, that goes without saying. That goes without saying.
Golden State defensively,
they're good.
Is one of the best teams in the league. He played 13 players last night. He used his entire roster. They're going to be just as fresh in Game 2, even though they've played back-to-back, or every other night now for I don't know how many, maybe a couple of weeks. Kerr's just a great coach. He knows how to get things done. And Jimmy Butler did not play a great offensive game last night. In fact, he passed up a lot of shots last night.
He still messed around and almost got a triple-double.
That's right.
Messed around and got a triple-double.
He does other things for that team and plays defense on top of it, too.
You know what sends me into a rage? And this isn't just last night, but all year long. But it was a factor in last night's game as well. There is no team in the NBA that misses layups the way the Wolves do. They consistently miss layups, and I can't figure it out. And truly, I believe they're the worst fast break basketball team that I've ever seen. It's a wonder that they ended up. How can you do you watch their fast breaks?
Yes, of course.
They're absolutely horrible on the fast break all year long. And last night you saw a couple times they threw it. I think I've made the comparison before to Danny DeVito's character Martini in the movie One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. There was more than once last night on the fast break where they just threw it out of bounds. They are hands down the worst fast break basketball team in the league.
I can't believe I'm the most positive one here, but I'm telling you they will dominate Game 2.
No, that's fine. Brad, we're talking about last night. I'm not giving up or anything. I'm not saying the series is over.
Curry's not going to play. The Wolves are going to play a lot better. Golden State in their mindset is like, we've got our game. Golden State, if you watch some of their playoff series, they'll go to sleep some games when they feel like they have got what they need. I'm not saying that they won't try, but I just feel like the Wolves will win by at least 10.
Go ahead, Brad Ryder. I'm with you.
As a listener said earlier, puke and rally. That's all this is. They puked, now they're going to rally.
That's a great little motivational slogan. Think of it as a puke and rally. That's beautiful. I like that.
Have you been able to kind of maintain your composure? You said this, you weren't going to get worked.
I never lost.
Doesn't seem like it.
No. You have to understand. I never lost my cool at all last night. Again, watching with the wife, she asked me to do her a favor and stop being so maniacal. During Timberwolves games. I was completely cool last night, and this is nothing for me. What you've just heard, this is nothing. So I think I'm still falling under that line of keeping myself more or less together. Have I dumped an F-bomb or anything?
No.
So trust me, I'm doing
not on air.
Ashley's the only one that's had a foul mouth this morning. Clean as heck.
I'm doing really well.
I think it would be fun if we could get our hands on something that can measure your pulse or your blood pressure. during one of these mornings after a bad game.
I don't know if I want those reports back. You know what I mean?
Oh, sure. It'd probably just make you nervous.
And live stream you watching a game sometime.
Yeah, I would love that.
It's disgusting. Now, social media. Yes, Josh?
So I was just going to ask, I was kind of worried this would happen. Did our boss, Derek, was he texting you last night?
No, not a word.
He's not cheering for the Wolves, that's for sure.
No, he's a Golden State Warriors fan, our boss.
So, okay, he never he's wearing a shirt yesterday that was pretty funny, supporting the
He wore a Klay Thompson, Steph Curry shirt. It was gross. Social media is picking on Anthony Edwards for his poor performance last night.
Really?
Yeah,
on social media?
That's shocking. Social media.
Thinking about his personality, I bet that does sting.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, like his fans are saying, "Yeah, you suck, dude. You suck."
Folks were saying he looked more like Anthony Edwards from the television show ER.
He's got the height to maybe
show.
Who also portrayed Gilbert in the legendary Revenge of the Nerds. Here's a person who was watching the game last night, and they tweeted, "As I walk into the kitchen to grab a bottle of wine at 9:26 p.m., I have as many points as Anthony Edwards." Now, I also saw a graphic that said, Kevin Durant. And that's a poke. Oh, wait a minute. Are these Kevin Durant statistics or Anthony Edwards statistics? What I took when I originally saw the graphic was they're giving a negative nickname to Anthony Edwards and calling him Kevin Durant. And they say in the last 4 ball games, he's gone 3 for 67, 0 for 21 from 3 points, and turned the ball over 43 times. But now that I'm reading it out loud, I can't tell for sure if that was a statistic on Kevin Durant himself or a statistic on...
That's a funny name I've never heard.
Either way.
Either way. There you go. How about what Indiana did in Cleveland last night?
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Down 7, I believe I have this correct. The Indiana Pacers playing at the Cleveland Cavaliers, Game 2 of their semifinal series. Down 7 with, a minute left? And
Yes.
they won the game.
Yep.
Halliburton steps back and hits. Tyrese Halliburton trying to take Cleveland's heart.
Oh, they took Cleveland's heart. There's no doubt about that.
Tyrese Halliburton, who, by the way, we mentioned a couple weeks ago, was voted by his peers as the most overrated player in the NBA.
That's true.
Well, he proved it last night.
For this season, he was overrated. Yes.
So, again, I hope I have this correct. They were down 3. Halliburton gets a steal, which was huge. Steals the ball from Cleveland. He gets fouled. He makes 1 free throw.
Yep.
So now they're down 2. He misses the second, and not intentionally as far as I could tell. He gets his own rebound and then dumps that 3-pointer that Josh just played for you with 1 second left.
How in the world did they not block him out at the free throw line?
The last minute of that game took about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because, Rick Carlisle, he doesn't get enough credit either. He won a championship in Dallas, and now he's in Indiana. He managed that last minute of the game very, very well from the sidelines.
And he doesn't get enough credit for looking exactly like Jim Carrey. So
he does.
Tyrese Halliburton, just dramatic stuff. Reminded a lot of folks of Reggie Miller and the New York Knicks from way back when.
Yep.
And suddenly the Cleveland Cavaliers, who were just outstanding all year long.
Well, they were
down
0-2
0-2
last night. They had a couple of starters hurt last night.
Oh, no.
Didn't play. Mobley and Garland. So they've been banged up. And Donovan Mitchell.
Those guys didn't play?
No.
Oh.
And Donovan Mitchell, is like tasked with just about everything on that team right now. So
Tyrese Halliburton did the Sam Cassell big ball celebration.
Oh, yeah.
Not as well, but he did it.
I have it written down here. I was going to mention it. Yeah.
After he hit the 3, he did the...
Sam Cassell still lives.
That's on 93x.com.
It's good to see the kids still respect the classics.
Yep.
And he said after the game, Tyrese said, "I will take that fine gladly." Tonight, Knicks, Celtics, Nuggets, Thunder. The Twins opened that home series with Baltimore by more or less stomping a mud hole in the Orioles and then walking it dry.
Yeah.
Woo.
They won 9-1. Pablo Lopez struck out a season-high 11 batters. Carlos Correa and Buck got out the dongs. Buxton had 4
to
RBIs.
left field and deep. This one towards the bleachers and gone. Byron Buxton on a breaking ball. Buck trucking his way to his 8th home run, and the Twins tag on 3 more.
Buck truck with me, Cubby.
I'd be kind of nervous to say that, wouldn't
Yes,
you?
I would. I said it before.
Buck truck with Daddy right now, Cubby. There you go. There you go.
You guys are so cute.
I think I pulled the shoulder muscle.
He had 4 RBI last night, for Pete's sake. Baltimore had just 3 singles on the night. So, again, let me see if I got this straight. Lopez struck out the side in the first, third, and fifth innings. He had a high pitch count, so he was done after 5, but he had a great night. Twins pitchers combined for 17 strikeouts.
Yeah. Baltimore's bad, man.
Yeah, they are.
They're bad right now. I mean, they may figure some things out. They're such a young roster, but their starting pitching is just decimated by injuries. And the Povich kid, who used to be a Twin, was traded to Baltimore. At times he looked really good last night, and then other times he just struggled. So,
hey, one of our listeners said that he caught Buck's home run last night.
Oh,
good.
cool.
That's sweet.
Fun.
Matthew, text us back. Are you serious? He says, I caught that ball.
Bare hand? I hope so.
He didn't give any detail. Well, if he's old enough to be texting, he shouldn't be wearing a glove to a ball game. So I would imagine he caught it. Everyone on the Orioles roster, well, that would be an exaggeration. Every Oriole batter last night struck out at least once. The return of Royce Lewis and Willie Castro. Lewis went 0 for 4.
Yep.
Castro went 1 for 3 with a walk.
Just nice to see Royce Lewis back. though.
Absolutely. That's all right.
Game 2 of 3 tonight. Simeon Woods Richardson going to start things off for the Twins. Not sure what direction the Orioles are going. I'm looking forward to hearing back from this listener who says he caught Buxton's home run ball last night.
Was everybody like me when Royce Lewis grounded out the first time and watched him run down first baseline? You kind of held your breath.
Oh, 100%.
Yes. Yes.
Careful.
Every time he or Buxton run, you hold your breath.
Yep.
If it's an obvious ground out, they should just tell him, just walk back to the dugout. No need. Don't risk it.
I get nervous even when they're walking, for God's sake.
They're walking into the ballpark.
Yeah.
Get them those little walkers old folks have with the tennis balls on the feet.
Or just a straight Hannibal Lecter,
those bullpen cars that they used to bring the relievers in. Just take a couple of those and drive them out to their spots between innings.
Oh. I'm looking forward to hearing back about this home run ball.
He got back to us, Nick.
What'd he say?
He said he did catch it barehanded, and then he got too intoxicated afterwards and lost the ball.
Oh, no.
What the heck, dude?
Really?
At a bar afterwards.
Good for you for having fun, but also I'm disappointed.
Not as much as he is.
One of my pals caught, what was that Kansas City Royals name? Well, maybe it was Salvatore Perez, but I don't think so. That Kansas City Royal who came here and played for the Twins for like 2 weeks and then left again. Kendrys Morales? Does that sound right?
That sounds right,
yeah.
Played with the Angels, and
Yeah, I think I had that.
He bounced around quite a few teams,
This was a Twins game against the Royals. I believe it was the home opener a number of years ago. Kendrys Morales just launches one into the right field upper deck. And my pal caught it barehanded. And then, okay, I get it. He immediately threw it back onto the field. You know the gimmick.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want the road team's home run. But another guy who was with him was really disappointed. Like, he didn't even let me look at it for a second. Like, immediately he caught it and just threw it. And the other guy was
just
like,
one fluid motion.
I just want to look. Yeah, I just want to look at the damn thing. He didn't have the patience for it. It's been a crazy day. I was up all night with that friggin' stupid basketball game. So there's some things that I haven't quite put my finger on yet. I understand the White Sox lost a game last night after a terrible error in the 9th inning, but I wasn't able to. Josh, what happened here?
This is hilarious.
So he goes to catch it, right?
A dude for the White Sox goes to catch it.
Yeah, and he loses it a little bit. So suppose he was kind of windy, and it just nicks his glove and hits him on the head.
Oh, no.
He just totally whipped it, and Taylor's throw was over it. He had a force play. Watch him see with his, off the glove and off the dome. He's saying, oh, man, what happened?
Right off the dome.
Off the glove and off the dome.
The video's up on 93x.com.
I missed it.
There's some serious Little League stuff.
How's he doing?
It didn't seem to faze him too much.
No post-game ice cream, though.
Certainly embarrassed.
I would have cried.
And so they lost the game more or less directly because of that error?
That loaded the bases up, and then they smoked one of the outfield, and that was that.
St. Paul Saints. Anyone been to a Saints game yet?
Not yet. We made some plans over the weekend. We're going to go to the Bark at the Park, or whatever they call their Saints. Bring the dog.
Sweet.
We try and go every year they do that.
Do you have to buy your dog's tickets, Josh? Those things are big.
We actually haven't brought one of our dogs yet. We've gone.
Oh, you're just going without the dogs?
No, we'll bring them this time.
Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm. St. Paul Saints may be in for a rebrand. Now, I think I know who this guy is, but I'm not up on comedians. A comedian by the name of John Oliver. Now, is that the guy who's from Chicago?
No.
He talks a lot. Okay, then forget it.
No.
I don't know who.
England, I think.
Yeah.
Correct.
He's got an HBO show.
Yeah.
He's from England?
After tonight. Or
I hate
Last
England.
week tonight.
Well, then forget it. He's from England.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, move on.
What? You don't want to play this?
I'm going to talk about
so much work getting the audio.
Oh, there's audio?
Yeah.
This guy named John Oliver has called out the St. Paul Saints for having a boring gimmick, and he wants to change their brand. I don't know what he says here, Josh. You want to just hit it? What is it? Go ahead.
Some minor league teams just aren't really pulling their weight. Some are just boringly named like the St. Paul Saints, which is pretty disappointing. And that is where we come in, because I have a very special offer. We are willing to use all of our resources and stupidity to give one minor league baseball team a total rebrand. We will give you a new team name, a new mascot. We will even throw you a theme night. It will be personalized and it will be bespoke. And we will do this in the spirit of your team, city, and the league to which you belong. You just need to agree to some very simple terms. The main one being, you can't ask us any questions, give us any notes, and you have to do what we come up with.
I've never been a fan, but that whole segment he had on minor league baseball was pretty funny. And it was a really long segment, so he did a lot of stuff on it. And some of that stuff was pretty funny.
I'm going to be honest, that audio kind of irritated me.
I understand.
It's because he's English.
Yeah.
You're coming around. The English are all irritating.
Who are you to hate on the St. Paul Saints? I love their mascot. What's better than the pig, bro?
Why would the Saints need a rebrand?
It feels like
they're boring.
It feels like he just picked a team that they probably would go along with their little gimmick.
It's the name. It's that he's not talking about the pig or anything like that. Just the name, because he ran through a bunch of funny names, and then the teams will have like a week-long name.
Yes.
He was kind of talking about that, saying the Saints need to do something like that. And he called out some other teams as well.
He likes the clubs like the Rocket City Trash Pandas, the Binghamton Rumble Ponies, the Eugene Exploding Whales, who have an obvious over-the-top gimmick. So he called out the St. Paul Saints. He called out the Buffalo Bisons, saying they're not pulling their weight as far as having a fun, over-the-top gimmick. He wants to rebrand them. He's probably just having some fun, of course. I don't know if the Saints will be open to doing something over-the-top ridiculous, but it sounds like it's a fun idea.
Yeah, he just called out just people that they had names that weren't necessarily creative in their mind. And
here's a text from Social Anxiety Jesus, who says comedian John Oliver is a douchebag.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
I never heard of the guy.
Have the Saints answered back at all?
Yes, they have.
Oh, they have? What did they say?
I don't have it in front of me right now, but I'll find it for you.
Who's the John comic I'm trying to think of who's from Chicago? And he's very funny, and he talks about he and his friend went to a bar and played some annoying song on the jukebox 100 times in a row. Anybody?
John Mulaney?
That's it, Mulaney.
I like that guy.
Ugh.
I hope he hasn't done anything absolutely awful or terrible.
I heard him once, and I thought he was very funny.
He can be, yeah.
But I don't get into this.
He's very proud of himself. He seems a little smug.
His face kind of gives that
Randy,
that vibe.
you know this John Oliver, and you don't like him.
I've watched the show a few times. I'm just not a fan.
Oh, my gosh, he's married to Olivia Munn. What a lucky man.
This comic,
so gorgeous.
This comic is married to Olivia Munn?
The one you were talking about, John Mulaney.
Oh, John Mulaney, the guy from Chicago.
Wow.
Okay.
Oh.
Well, he just got respect.
Yeah. Yeah. Mad
love from Brad Ryder. Mad love.
You talking about Aaron Rodgers' ex-girlfriend?
No.
Isn't Munn a former girlfriend?
I don't remember Karen Rodgers' ex-girlfriend.
I think she is.
I thought Olivia Munn was some hotter than hell actress.
She is.
I think, am I thinking the wrong
No,
person?
you're right. They dated from 2014 to 2017.
Oh, then I'm
Look
thinking
at
of a
you.
different. I'm thinking of a different lady.
Come on.
Randy reads TMZ.
Well, then you probably saw there's rumors maybe Aaron Rodgers got married. They say he found the love of his life.
Oh,
Really?
my gosh.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me, Josh.
Oh, yeah? Well, if that's the case, congratulations to Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Rodgers. I'm glad you found the love of your life.
Maybe that's what's holding up his signing with the Vikings. He's on his honeymoon.
Oh, for God's sake.
Okay, now
Let it go, man.
I don't remember who's the really hot lady, and this is the only movie I can reference. Who's the really hot lady who got totally naked in that gangster movie called Justin Timberlake's a gangster, and so is that short kid, and some other people are gangsters.
Alpha Dog?
Alpha Dog. Who's the hot lady who was in Alpha Dog?
Well, Sharon Stone was one of them.
Oh, no, she looked terrible in that movie.
Well, she's a hot lady, or has Amanda Seyfried?
No.
Well, Olivia Wilde.
Wilde, that's the one I'm thinking of. Olivia Wilde. I don't know who Olivia Munn is. Olivia Wilde from Reservoir. What's the movie?
Alpha Dog.
Alpha Dog is insanely hot.
She's in House, too.
You're
The
in
show
House.
that me and Josh like.
13.
I wish
Olivia Munn is gorgeous. Now, she's now in Your Friends and Neighbors on Apple TV+.
Oh, I love that show.
What's going on with the Pittsburgh Pirates now? A couple of stories from the Pittsburgh Pirates. They had to go ahead and suspend an employee.
Yeah, I saw this.
For whipping a fan with his belt.
Yeah, after
During
he
a fight.
punched him a couple times, too.
During a fight.
He kicked this dude's butt.
Is there video of this?
Yeah, it's on 93x.com.
I don't know anything anymore.
That's okay.
Maybe I never have.
You had a late
It's
night.
in the article.
In the article. I didn't see a video in the article.
Oh.
So here's what happened at the Pirates game the other night. They were hosting somebody on Sunday. An unnamed worker for the Pirates witnessed two fans harassing a female employee at a concession stand, and he intervened.
Well, that's good.
Good for him. Good for him. Hey, what are you two bozos doing harassing my coworker? And a fight cuts loose. Hands are thrown back and forth. Spitting. They were, well, at least it sounds like the two douchebags who were harassing this female worker spit on this Pirates employee who was defending the woman.
Yep. Once I saw those two guys spit at the worker, I thought in my head, oh, here we go. It's on now. He ain't going to stand for that.
The dude pulls his belt off of his pants and just beat the living hell out of him.
I would never think to pull that move.
Right? How did he have the presence of mind to be
He's just like, okay,
belt time?
I need a weapon, and I only got one thing on me, baby. And it's my...
He's done that before. There's no way that was the first time.
It's part of the training.
I wonder if he's a dad.
He's got to be a dad.
He's looking like a lion tamer over here. Just
Oh, I've been whipped with one of those a few times. That is painful.
Yep.
Yep.
Bystanders jumped in and stopped the fight. Policemen, officers arrived on the scene. Everything got cleared out, but the Pirates confirmed they suspended this guy. And I would imagine, I would hope that this was a, what do they call it in the business, Josh? Like, it's in the writing. It's a company policy. There you go. Company policy, maybe, to suspend a guy for getting in a physical altercation. I hope they're going to give this guy a break because he was just defending his coworker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, I wish you would have been there for that.
It'd be a pretty cool badge of honor for the guy if they had to update the team policy and employee guidebook to include no belting fans.
They should have a belt buckle night in honor of.
Oh, man.
It
That
is
would be
pretty.
something the Saints would do.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, give out a belt buckle.
Yeah.
And then I never knew about this, maybe because we had time off last week. Some poor 20-year-old kid fell out of the bleachers at a Pirates game.
That was serious.
Terrible.
I didn't know about this. He landed on the ball field?
Yeah.
Yes, on the warning
We've had
track.
one person fall out of the stands, 20-plus feet. We've got 3 medics working to assess and extract the patient.
To see that, it's upsetting. Super sad moment. Super sad.
Before we start, just want to, offer thoughts and prayers with the incident that happened earlier in the game. The fact of how it went down and, laying motionless, it's extremely unfortunate. I mean, that's an understatement.
He looked dead at first.
Yeah, well, he still not out of the woods, I don't think, is he?
He's doing better, but yeah, he's still in the hospital.
That's where I'm going with this. I missed this altogether. Poor kid fell out of the bleachers, landed down there on the ball field. Trainers and everyone, they hauled him off on a stretcher. He broke his neck. He broke a clavicle. He broke his back.
You posted this the other day, didn't you, Ashley?
Yes, I did.
A fundraiser's been rolling for a while. They're near their goal of $50,000. The word is he's making progress, according to some people involved. He took his first steps since the accident a couple days ago. Slow process, but he's up and around, and people are feeling a lot better about it. Fell right out the bleachers and down onto the ball field.
So scary.
Man, I've seen some people in the upper deck of the Metrodome back in the day. They'd be walking down, wobbling, drunk. That he was worried they were going to go up and over.
Oh, I see that at any sporting event now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
Especially if it's an old person, you kind of hold your breath.
I kept one hand down the back of Big Al's pants once when we were walking down the.
That's a true friend, Nick.
We're way in the upper deck. This was at Target Field, though.
Yeah.
Not at the old Metro, but at Target Field. Big Al and I were sitting way up, and we got into the beer. And when we were making our way down those steps, I put my hand down the back of Big Al's pants. Because if he would have gone all the way to the bottom. Now, a couple people texted in and said this kid did not fall. He jumped.
No, he didn't.
It looked to me like he fell. I haven't read anything saying he jumped.
There's a couple people that were around him when it happened, and he was, obviously, he was highly intoxicated. He stood up to cheer, and when he stood up to cheer, he had too much momentum and went over.
This kid was highly intoxicated?
That's what they said. The people that observed his behavior said that he seemed pretty tuned up.
There might be a few extra operations meetings going on at PNC Park after these last couple of incidents.
Yeah.
I'll bet you're right.
Yeah.
They're going to do what? I'm sorry?
No, I'm just saying there may be, just that plus the incident just the other day. They've had a
The
couple
belt whipping. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to have a couple of meetings.
Be a few meetings. Yeah.
Man, I wish I would have been there when that dude took his belt off.
Can you imagine how fun that would be?
Oh,
Nick goes, hell, I'm joining in.
I would yell to a complete stranger, he's taking his belt off, get over here. You got to see this. Hockey last night, Carolina beat Washington in overtime in their first game of a possible 7-game series. I don't want Ovechkin to go any further. I think he's had enough fun. So I'll go ahead and root for Carolina on that one. Who's with me? Ovechkin. I've had enough of Ovechkin. Anybody?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. The passion is remarkable here.
Kind of in the middle, but
Yeah,
I'll
after the
support
Wild
you.
are out, I kind of forgot the playoffs are still happening.
No, I get it, because there's damn near... I can't think of anything that would motivate me to watch Edmonton, Las Vegas. I just can't think of one reason to watch Edmonton, Las Vegas. Tonight, Panther, Maple Leaf, Star, Jet. I'm tuned in to Panther, Maple Leaf. I am. Because Florida's...
I want the Canadian team to get into the
I would like that too.
conference finals.
well, they got into the Cup final last year, Edmonton.
I want to see it again.
It's been a while since Toronto's done anything.
Wait a minute. I'm forgetting. I forgot that Winnipeg is in Canada there for a second.
Yeah, Winnipeg too.
I would be fine. I would be all over the Jet or the Maple Leaf making the final.
That'd be awesome.
Mm-hmm. Maple Leafs haven't been there since 1993. Jets never been there.
Yeah.
Edmonton, they can kiss my ass. They're boring. I'm tired of they're boring. The Florida Panthers are a really fun team to watch. That's a great hockey team. They really are. But sure, I'd be fine with the Leafs or the Jets finding their way in there. By the way, the Oilers set a record last night. That was their fifth consecutive is how you say it, their fifth consecutive playoff comeback victory. So take that wherever you like. Says here, ex-Golden Gopher quarterback Max Brosmer has a legitimate shot to make the Vikings roster. Okay, so who do they have there for quarterbacks?
Well, they have
a totally unproven kid at starter.
Yeah,
and then they have the
injury-prone, by the way. The injury-prone and unproven kid as a starter.
Sam Howell.
Sam Howell is the backup.
Well, then they have another guy, and is it still Rippin? Is it still Rippin's?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I think he's still on the roster.
All right.
So.
Brosmer might have a chance to make their practice squad.
Has an ex-Golden Gopher quarterback ever played for the Vikings?
Well, a couple of years ago, he didn't play in a game, but Tanner Morgan was on their practice squad a couple of times.
Yeah. Let's after practice squad.
I'm talking about in a real game.
Well, I mean, at least on the sideline holding the clipboard. Mike Hohensee, did he have a run with the Golden Gophers?
He was not. Yes, of course he.
I'm sorry, with the Vikings is what I meant to say.
I don't think so.
No.
Okay.
I don't think Mike. I think Mike Hohensee played in the Canadian Football League.
He played in the original USFL.
Oh, that's where it was.
J.J. McCarthy recently said he feels 110%.
He's totally unproven
I'm 10%,
and he's injury prone.
Better than when I got hurt 8 months ago, and just really excited to be out here with the guys again and be in the building.
Now that's why I wanted to keep the audio because of this.
And
his little voice.
That's your starting quarterback.
I love it.
Are we missing somebody?
That's impossible. That's statistically impossible to feel 110%.
I agree.
Wow.
I mean, there's that Michigan education coming.
Yeah. That's just hype. That's just nonsense.
They're always exaggerating things.
He should just say, I'm totally unproven and I'm injury prone, but I'm looking forward to the season.
I don't know if I draft him on my NFL team, but if I was starting a beer pong league, he looks like the type of bro who's pretty good at beer pong.
Yeah, he probably rules at beer pong. It's a tough question, but I can't think of any former. Not that they haven't had a long line of wonderful quarterbacks.
Well, Ricky Foggy, I don't, obviously didn't play. I don't even know if he, signed with a team in the NFL. I don't recall.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Adam Weber played for years. Brian Cupido, I don't think he played.
Yeah, it's all right. We don't need to run through all of them.
No, I'm just saying, nobody jumps out, right?
Yeah, but I remember when Mike Hohensee played in the original USFL.
Mike Hohensee in the early 80s was a great quarterback.
And can I tell my USFL story again? Because I believe that Mike Hohensee was the quarterback for this particular team. The Washington Federals, I think is what they were called at the time.
Correct.
And I believe Mike Hohensee was the starting quarterback for this team during this era. This is like 1983. And I have this on video somewhere because when I was a kid, my parents, for Christmas, would often give me the VHS blooper tape.
Oh, those are great.
I love those.
You used to get them with Sports Illustrated once a year.
Oh, God, and the NFL one back in the day when they did the Looney Tunes characters.
It's awesome.
And Porky Pig is narrating a vignette about bad weather at football games. And he says, precipitate rain. and Foghorn Leghorn is talking about, dumb plays. And anyway, you get it. So one year, my folks, because they didn't know one from the other, my folks bought me the USFL blooper VHS tape, which was still fun because bloopers are always fun. But I remember at the time, I thought, you couldn't get me the NFL, you got me the USFL. It
was on sale.
The Washington Federals had a coach. I don't remember his name, but he had a hell of an imagination. And whenever I tell this story, I always say, how do you think this would go over today? So the Federals were absolutely terrible, the worst football team maybe ever at the time. And the coach said, I got to lighten the mood here. So he pulls one player aside before practice, and he says, here's what we're going to do. You start a fight,
Oh, I remember this.
You start a fight at practice. It's going to be very believable because we suck eggs. Start a fight with somebody. I am going to come over, the coach is speaking, I'm going to come over and break up the fight. And then the coach tells the player, you come after me like you're going to kick my ass. I have a starter's pistol in my pocket. I'm going to pull it out as if it's a real gun. I'm going to shoot it at you. You fall down like I've shot you and you're dead. That's the joke we're going to pull at practice. And they did it. I have it on video. They played it out perfectly. Players were absolutely frozen in fear.
Oh, my God.
When the coach and it was a starter's pistol, so it was Right. They thought the coach had really killed this player at practice. Everyone was terrified for about 5 seconds until the player sat up like The Undertaker, and everybody laughed their balls off. Imagine that happening today.
Oh, my God.
That's insane.
And the legendary John McKay makes an appearance on those old NFL blooper reels when he was coaching Tampa Bay, and they were terrible. We've traded John McKay stories back and forth. He was so dry and so hilarious. There's one where he's the head coach, and he's trying to coach this team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the players keep stepping in his way. Like when a play comes down the sideline, the players kept stepping into his line of sight, and he's getting more and more pissed off. Can you guys back up? I can't see what's happening. But the players can't help themselves. They keep stepping. And finally he says, you got to remember, this is the mid-'80s. This was way before Brent Favre and the Packers were garbage. And John McKay finally says, the next guy that steps in my way, I'm running his ass to Green Bay. All right, we got to get going. Game two of the Wolves is tomorrow night, so we can try to get ourselves together. You know what was the cutest part of this conversation was when Randy and Brad tried to act like they've watched more Timberwolves basketball than I have.
Oh, for God's
That was
sake.
adorable.
I know I have.
You don't know dick. We'll talk to you guys later, Randy and Brad.
Okay.
The 93X Half-Assed Morning Show.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.
No Contest Wrestling. O'Shea Jackson Jr. and TJ Jefferson with the biggest names in the game.
Ricky Sykes is in the house, everybody. NXT North American Champion, baby. How you feeling right now, man? I feel great.
Jay Uso. What's going on, man?
A lot of heavy days, but it's okay, man. It's part of the game.
They know who they are, bro. And you know who I am.
TJ, can you tell them where to find us?
Yeah. I mean, why else are we here? You can always find us No Contest Wrestling. Check us out.
The No Contest Wrestling Podcast, part of the Rich Eisen Podcast Network. Follow and listen on your favorite platform.
Half-Assed Morning Show.
They are in an alternate reality than ours. They are in that rock reality.
They surround themselves with these professional dickheads.
And I'm not even really sure if they're aware, you know?
I don't think they're aware of how much they suck.
93X rocks.
Yeah, welcome back to the old radio show, the 93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 651-989-9393 is our text number. If you have a question for criminal defense attorney Ryan Pacyga, who was wandered on into our garbage radio studios this morning. Hello, Ryan. Thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me. How are you?
We're good. How's everything with you?
Really good to be here.
Yeah,
I'm
man.
Good. Nice back down to earth from a long trial.
You had a long trial recently.
Pretty stressful.
3-week first-degree murder. Oof. 2 counts of first-degree murder.
And now
it was a double murder. I can tell you about it in a minute.
Here in Minnesota?
Yeah, it was in St. Paul.
Yikes.
You want to hear the thing?
Go ahead.
So think of it as a funeral luncheon, okay? In some communities, they call that a repast. After you bury someone, you go back, you have lunch, maybe a couple drinks, and all the family gets together. And there's this big family that's like, 100 people. There's some relationship by marriage and blood, and it's an extended family, cousins on cousins on cousins. Mm-hmm. So there's like 80 to 100 people at this thing, and it's right in the heart of the Midway area in St. Paul, which can still be a dangerous area. So my client, who's got a prior aiding and abetting a murder conviction,
yikes,
goes, but he brings a gun. Turns out he's far from the only one that brought a gun there, right?
Oh, no.
Everything's going on inside. Everything's fine. And when he goes to get his elderly mother tells him, hey, there's people bringing guns in here. Let's go. So he goes to get his car across this really big parking lot to pull it up to the door so mom can walk right out easy and go, right? And while he goes to get the car, an argument starts inside that he's not a part of. One of the guys saying, it's time for everyone to go. Screw you. We're going to, stop getting on us, right? That spills outside. So he picks up his mom. He's coming around the corner of the lot. Now he sees this argument outside. And a guy pulls a gun out. So my client hits the brakes right away, makes a beeline right over to him, shoots him twice in the head, drops him.
Good Lord.
Now all the guns come out. And a total of 5 people are shot, 2 are dead total, 39 shell casings found in the parking lot.
Oh, man.
And they charge my client with dropping the one guy when he shot him in the head. And then in the crossfire, they say he accidentally shot his own cousin through the hip, which hit a major artery, and the guy bled out pretty much right at the scene and died as well, right?
Jesus criminy.
So then he leaves the scene. He drives his own sister to the hospital. Police tell him to stay at the hospital because they're trying to figure out who did what. He takes off out of there. He's got a prior felony. He's not supposed to have a gun, okay, ditches the gun, grabs the stuff from his apartment, hides out in a hotel in Bloomington, waiting to put bail money together because he knows how this is going to go. He's got a prior aiding and abetting, murder from like 30 years ago, right?
Sure.
And police find him a few days later, pinging his cell phone. He gets arrested. So we go to trial, okay? The defense on the first murder was defense of another. So in Minnesota, you have a right not only to defend yourself, and I'm not talking about in your home now, let's say out in a public place.
Okay.
You have a right to defend other people as well, and you can use all reasonable force necessary under the circumstances as long as they're facing a genuine threat of bodily harm.
Okay.
And in your estimation, if they can't retreat, if they're not able to retreat, you don't have to retreat like you do in self-defense if possible, obviously, because then you couldn't defend someone else, right?
Uh-huh.
So we raised defense of another, and here was the cover-up in the case. When my client dropped that one guy, shot him right away and dropped him right there when he pulled the gun out, that guy's this family was like Hatfields and McCoys, okay?
Yeah.
They hated each other, depending on whose side you're on. So they lied to the police about the guy pulling a gun out, and they got rid of the gun, that side of the family, before the police even showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And they covered it up the whole time, and it came out about a year later in the investigation. So at the trial, the first part of the battle was to establish that this dude really pulled a gun out, and that's why my client shot him,
Mm-hmm.
and not that the guy just had his gun in his waistband or didn't even have a gun.
He had it out.
We were able to prove that to the jury.
Mm-hmm.
So they charged him with 2 counts of first-degree premeditated murder because they saw my guy on video when he was going to get the car for his mom. He pulled a gun out of his right coat pocket and moved it over to his left coat pocket, and they said, aha, he must be planning to do something here. We got a not guilty verdicts on 2 first-degree murder counts, which would have been life without parole for him. So that was a big win on that part. The jury rejected his defense of others on second-degree intentional murder, either thinking that the dude, my guy, ran up behind him and shot him in the back of the head where he couldn't have been a danger if he had his back to the crowd, or that he wasn't really raising the gun enough to be a threat yet, which is really an interesting decision.
Man.
And then they found him not guilty of 2 other second-degree murder counts for the Crossfire shooting. We had self-defense and defense of others on that one. And then, of course, guilty of felon in possession of a firearm, which we had to tell the jury, yeah, he's guilty of that.
Okay.
Right? So it was a heck of a battle.
I'll tell you what, I pray that I am never in any situation like that ever. That is just, I just can't believe.
Ryan, I've got a buddy who's a trademark attorney, and he never tells stories like that.
Yeah.
If he started telling me a story about his daily life, I'd fall asleep.
I just can't imagine being caught up in something like that.
How do you, jury trials, what are your thoughts on that? is it something where, does a lawyer like yourself want that, or does it make you more nervous because people are unpredictable?
Well, if you're going to, look, there are 2 types of even criminal defense lawyers, okay? In reality, there are some criminal defense lawyers that never actually go to trial. They don't, it's exhausting, it's emotionally disturbing at times.
Right.
It takes away from your other business, it takes away from your family life, you name it, and it's high pressure. So some of them will, they just have all of their clients plead guilty, okay? And then there are other lawyers who really try a lot of cases, okay? You have to enjoy trying cases if you're going to do it. There's a lot of mental chess that goes on to it. But the most important thing about whether we want it to go to trial, Josh, or not, is it's not about what we want. It's got to be about what's best for the client.
Okay.
Okay. You have to have a little bit of it in your mind, I think, think of like a quarterback. You want that quarterback to have a little bit of moxie, a little bit of swagger,
right.
A little bit of self-confidence. You got to have that if you're going to try cases because the juries can see it or not. And you got to believe in yourself and know it. But if you like doing trials, you'll become good at them because you're always trying to get better.
Yeah.
All right? And lawyers that try cases routinely, we get better results generally for clients for a number of reasons. Number one, prosecutors know which lawyers really go to trial often and which one will never go to trial. So if you're a prosecutor, are you going to make a better offer to a lawyer who might actually take you to trial and might beat you, or to someone who's always pleading guilty.
Oh, okay, sure.
Right?
That makes sense.
So there's a value in having a lawyer that routinely goes to trial, even if your case isn't going to go to trial, because you might just get a better offer because of the lawyer has a reputation for trying cases and can win them.
What a gig, man.
Yeah, no kidding.
What a gig. 651-989-9393 is our text number. A few questions have come in for you already, Ryan Pacyga. Here's a listener who says, I got arrested for disorderly conduct 3 years back, my first and only time I've ever been in trouble. Is there a way I can get that off my record?
Yeah, there are expungement statutes. So if you got arrested for it, I don't know if that means you were convicted of it, like you pled guilty or went to trial and were found guilty.
Let me see if there's anything in here. No, go ahead.
Yeah. So being arrested is different than being convicted of a crime. If you're arrested, there will still be a record that you were arrested and charged with a crime. Okay? It doesn't necessarily mean that you've got a record of conviction or being found guilty. But there are ways to expunge. That's called expungement, sealing your record, okay? And the records depend, when you can do that depends on whether you were convicted or just arrested, as well as how long you were on probation for and some of those other things. So you're going to want to talk to a lawyer who does expungements, okay? But generally, disorderly conduct should be something that shouldn't be too much trouble to get expunged.
Good.
This person says their friend was helping a bar manager with a drunk. It was a woman, and she grabbed the bar manager. They both fell down. The drunk hit her head, and it was bleeding pretty good. The friend went over and hit the woman in the face to save the bar manager, and now he's being charged with felony aggravated assault. He said there's video which clearly shows she hit her head beforehand, which caused her to bleed. Is the DA trying to overcharge to get a plea deal?
That could happen. That is sometimes a strategy, is overcharge something, and that way it's like, well, if we give you a better offer than what you're really facing, you'll take it because you don't want to roll all the dice and have that really heavy hammer hit you at a
Shady.
trial. I hate that policy. Some people will do that, some don't. It's a terrible way to do things to people. So this is going to be a felony. If someone cut their head and needed stitches, that's going to be a third-degree assault is probably what the person's charged with. That's called substantial bodily harm. Things that need a broken bone, something that needs stitches, those are some examples of third-degree assault, okay? If the video is going to show that this person cut their head and was bleeding before this person jumped in to protect the bar manager, then there may not be substantial bodily harm even if they hit that person after. Because if I just slap you in the face, but you've already been cut in the head, I didn't cause that cut, and that's just a misdemeanor assault, unless they also broke the person's bone or something like that. But just what we were talking about in that other trial, this person that's texting in, they may have a defense of others as well, because if this drunk person was going after the bar manager and the person who texted in was trying to protect that bar manager from being assaulted, they would have potentially the defense of others and should raise that in their case. They should talk to that about with their lawyer.
Okay, yeah, it kind of sounds like that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
Me and my girlfriend got into an argument, says a listener. We lived together. Nobody hurt anybody. Things were thrown, but not at each other.
Uh-oh.
Things were thrown, but not at each other. She called the cops. More or less what they're asking here. This dude was hauled off, slapped a charge on me, charged me with assault by fear.
Mm-hmm.
What are my chances of getting this thrown out without knowing a lot of details?
Sure.
Assault by fear.
Yeah, in Minnesota, you can be charged with assault fear or assault harm. So assault fear means you're doing an act with the intention to cause fear of bodily harm. So if I raise my hand up at you and I don't even hit you, and I just put my hand in the air like I'm going to punch you, that could be an assault fear if you reasonably believe that you're fearful
you
that
were going to sock me in the jaw.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Or if I'm throwing something at the wall by you, you've got potentially reasonable fear that I'm going to hit you with these things, and that's assault fear. And that can happen domestic assault or non-domestic assault, whether it's me and you that are friends or enemies, or if I'm in a domestic relationship like boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, things like that. Assault fear, so this is going to be a domestic assault fear. And if you've got no priors, you hopefully would be able to get this either what's called a stay of adjudication and not have it on your record, or a disorderly conduct or something like that. You do not want a domestic assault, whether it's fear or harm, on your record, because if you pick up a domestic assault, fear or harm, then you're going to do things like you usually can't possess firearms or ammunition, sometimes for the rest of your life. You're going to have a hard time with some job applications, volunteer things, some other things like that. So you do not want a domestic assault on your record.
So if they're throwing things at each other, is that something where they both could be facing the same charge, or how does that work?
They could, but in reality, the great majority of the time, the guy's the one that's going to jail.
Yeah.
What's
the difference in punishment with regular assault and assault by fear?
Neither one.
Really?
They're both the same.
Really?
If it's a misdemeanor, it's a maximum of 90 days in jail and a $1,000 fine. Those are the maximums.
I wonder if I could ever be that intimidating, Josh.
Well, I was going to say,
so.
I'm very fearful of a lot of things, so be careful around me. But there are times where you sneeze and I cry, partly out of fear and partly out of just concern for my best friend.
Criminal defense attorney Ryan Pacyga is here, and a few more of our listeners are seeking your advice, Ryan. The number is 651-989-9393 if you think you can squeeze in a last-minute text here. First off, I agree completely with this text message. It says, damn, I want to break the law just to hear Ryan talking. He should narrate a television show or something.
Hey, you know what? Have you ever thought of getting like a I know there's a lot of crime podcasts, but
I've been asked about that. I've never just gone into that.
I think you should narrate Hollywood movies.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like the Morgan Freeman thing or something?
Yeah.
I love that guy.
You could absolutely dominate that role.
Oh, who narrates those HBO sports ones? Is it Liev Schreiber? Or
yeah,
something?
he's great.
He's great. Yeah, you got a little bit of that in you too.
Yeah, you do.
You don't have a lot of free time, but I would look into narrating Hollywood films. Interesting question here from a listener. Works at a particular joint that sells ammunition. A lot of folks come in and pay with cash. Okay.
Sure.
If they commit a crime, can the cashier who sold the ammunition get punished? That doesn't seem.
No, they wouldn't know about it. No. Oh, sure. No way. I mean, they'd have to know to be liable for the crime of another. You've got to know what they're going to be doing and somehow help them in some way, shape, or form to do it. So maybe if somebody comes into the ammunition store and says, "Hey, I need a box of ammunition because I'm going to go blow this guy's head off in a minute." Yeah, you might have some liability there.
The reason why I asked, even though the question sounded ridiculous, what came to mind was I don't know if this is still happening, but for a stretch of time, their bartenders were getting in trouble for DUIs.
There's a law that protects them, or some type of insurance they can buy, right?
They can get insurance, and there's the bars are insured for that.
Okay.
Yeah. So as long as you don't sell to somebody that's like, hey, what's the best bullet for cold-blooded murder?
Right.
I got a boss I really don't care for.
That bar situation. My mom used to be a bartender for a very long time, and she got in trouble, or almost got in trouble, because she had one of those sleepy drunks, and she thought maybe he was just a quiet guy, and he only ordered a couple drinks. Well, it turns out he was drinking all day long, and he ended up getting in a car crash, hurting some people, and they came after her, but because luckily whatever was in place to protect her actually did its job. So.
All right. Okay. There you go.
I don't know if we've had a question like this before. This could be some helpful advice, though, for an up-and-comer. Gamer Jesus said his fiance is on track to become a lawyer. When she gets closer to the end of it, how does she go about finding work? Should she join an already established firm? Can she start making her own way? What would you recommend?
I wouldn't go out on my own right away because you just don't know what you don't know. Okay, I believe people can do that, and it can be it can be a very rewarding experience, but not right out of the gate. So I would say the best advice I can give is follow your heart. If you love what you do and you want to be in service to others, then you're going to do good at it. You're going to become good at it, and you're going to do the work for the right reasons. So whether you join a firm or, clerking for a judge is one thing where you can learn a lot. You're working for a judge for a year or two, and you might see a whole variety of different kinds of legal cases come through the court, from family law like divorces and child custody to criminal to lawsuits and things like that. So that'd be one thing to look into. Or if you're wondering about particular areas of law, you might want to try clerking at a firm that does that kind of law first, so you kind of get a free preview of what it's like before you become a lawyer.
So I'm sorry if this is a dumb question. But do you specialize in a particular law in school, or is that like you just kind of figure out afterwards?
Generally, no. Yeah, generally it's general study for law.
Because there's so many different kinds. Like I mentioned, my friend is a boring trademark attorney, and then there's criminal defense. You think there's such a wide spectrum there.
Right. Yeah, but no, you can pick some electives in law school, but there's not like a major in law school. You got to kind of know it all for the bar exam anyway.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, and then after that, you get into what you really want to focus on, and you might change that over time. Some people start in civil lawsuits, and then they move over to criminal, or vice versa, or whatever like that.
Let's revisit this one real quick in case folks aren't aware. I got a misdemeanor DUI last December. Is it true that I'm barred from going into Canada for that?
Not necessarily barred, but you're going to have to go through a permit process. So Canada treats DWIs much differently than the United States does. If you've got a prior DWI on your criminal record or on your driving record, so let's say you got it reduced to a careless driving. If you didn't also fight and win your driver's license side of it, that's still considered a DWI on your driving record, and Canada will flag that as well. So you've got to go through a permit process. If you just show up to the border and try to get in Canada and you've got this prior DWI on your driving side of it or on your criminal, you're going to have some problems crossing the border. But there are companies that will go through the permitting process for you and guide you through it, and they charge a fee, but you can get in, but you should get out ahead of it. Don't wait until a week before.
There's a significant amount of Rush albums you need to name also before they let you in.
Maybe some hockey trivia.
Yeah.
I've had this weird skin tag on my testicle. Can you ask Ryan about it? See, now you're mixing segments. Ryan is a criminal defense attorney, ArrestedMinnesota.com. You're thinking of Dr. P. Jesus. Somebody else says, can I get something off my record for a misdemeanor of possession of paraphernalia with the new marijuana laws?
Yeah, probably. You got to go through that expungement process like I talked about a little bit before. So there are processes for it. There are lawyers that do a lot of expungements. I can give you a referral if you need them. They are very familiar with what can and can't be expunged, how long you got to wait, what records you need to get together. You can try some of these things on your own as well, but that's called expungement, and you got to look into that.
Okay.
You've done great work, Ryan Pacyga. We appreciate it very much. It's great to see you.
It's great to see you guys.
Always good to
love
see
being
you.
here.
That friggin' story you told us about that 3-week trial you just went through sounded absolutely amazing and harrowing and stressful and everything. I'm glad for you that it's over and you get to, what was the word I used earlier?
Decompress.
You get to decompress a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah,
Good
it's
for
good
you.
to be back to normal.
And good to see you.
Yeah, always
Thank you.
good to see you.
Take care, brotherhood.
You
Love
bet.
you guys.
Well, we'd like to send some love to Music Genius Jesus and Loss Prevention Jesus and pay our respects to their 13-year-old dog Chance, who they had to put down, sadly. We know how difficult that is. Happy birthday to Chris at ESS Brothers. Birthday shout-out to Theron busting his ass at Red Wing Shoe. And happy 16th to Tommy from Dad, Can You Dig It, Jesus? Have a wonderful day.
93X Half-Assed Morning Show. 93X.
Well, if it isn't our wonderful podcast listener, the ones that all of us on hams love the most. Dana here to give you a little gentle reminder to hit up our friends at Standard Heating and Air Conditioning and tune up that AC before it fully turns into crotch soup season. June through August are Standard's busy season for getting AC units up to snuff, so get ahead of the curve and have them ensure you don't have a summer where you pit out every shirt you own. Book in May during their pre-summer heat savings event, and you'll beat the rush and save yourself some walking around money. Call Standard Heating today or visit standardheating.com. Enjoy the show. We sincerely appreciate you checking us out each and every day.